Welcome to the Foul Play YouTube channel, Reading with the Crew.
Hey, thanks very much for the introduction, Jack61, and welcome everyone. Welcome everyone on the panel and welcome everyone in chat. Thank you so much for all your support. It's fantastic that you guys are here and we do this for you guys here. As you know, what we're doing is we're reading specific passages from John Ferak's book, The Wrecking Crew. And at the moment, what we're doing, if you're following the podcast series, we're actually on episode number 29, which is awesome. And all of us on the Foul Play team want to thank each and every one of you guys for your incredible support and feedback on this particular series that we're doing. And when I start off the podcast, I'll be answering some of your questions. They're all relevant. They're all pertinent to what we're doing at the moment. So if you're following the series, we're on chapter 14, entitled Canine Noses. And we're actually on part 6. Now, originally, when Neville and I researched this chapter, right, Jack61, we thought it was only going to go for 1 or 2 episodes. But I must admit, the more we researched, the more the Foul Play team researched, the more things that we uncovered. And it's truly remarkable how the canines, both cadaver and scent dogs, really opened up the case in so many unexpected ways. And it really forced us to go back to the original literature and have a look at a few people that were involved in the investigation. And like I said, guys, when we start the podcast, I'll be answering some of your questions. And please, guys, who's in chat, and we've got a lot of people already in chat, thank you so much. Put down your questions and we'll try and answer them during the podcast. But look, guys, I don't want to waste too much time because we have a lot to cover. So I'm Dr. Silkman. I'm from the Foul Play team, and it's really great to be here. If you enjoy what we do, guys, please subscribe, like, and share our work. The more people that can get to hear about the shenanigans that took place in the 2005 murder of Teresa Halbach, who unfortunately lost her life in a most brutal manner, very likely on October the 31st. We do this for her. We do this to find the truth, no matter where it lies. Everyone here on the Foul Play team, Jack61 and everybody else will back me up. We do believe in the innocence of Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey. However, we are open to the truth, and that's why we work so hard to investigate what happened during that horrible day. So guys, I'm not going to waste too much time. The only thing that I say, please be respectful for everyone in the chat and for your fellow panel members. We all do this for free. No one gets paid. We give up our time willingly because everyone here on the panel is very, very passionate and we love what we do and we love your interaction as well, which is awesome. So guys, without further ado, and also I want to thank all our mods and our super mods for keeping the show going. And please realize that there are many people, you don't see them here on the panel, but they work behind the scenes and they work very hard to keep everything in check and intact. And guys, we have a very extensive YouTube channel where many of us do presentations like Reading with the Crew, Open Mic, and other presentations. Please come to our YouTube channel. We have over 2,700 videos, phone calls, you name it. It's all there, all for free, all for your own research. We have a very extensive website, right, Jack61, where a lot of people, Jack61 included, Sunshine Christina, and others who have worked very hard to FOIA documents. And all income that we make, we either give it to a specific charity, a specific cause, or we use that money to buy documents so you guys can enjoy and do the research. Now, remember, guys, these are the words of John Ferak that don't necessarily represent the thoughts and feelings of the foul play team. But, and I'm sure Jack and everyone else will back me up, it's very important that you do your own research. That's the number one importance. We may see certain things that are different. That's fine. But please do your own research, come to your own conclusions, right? That's the most important thing. All right, guys, without wasting any more time, I'd like to introduce my esteemed panel who show up every time. It's just amazing. First of all, we have Jack61. Jack61, how are you coming along, good buddy?
Doing good, Doc. Can't complain too much. It's gonna be a good podcast today. A lot of really good material, some more new stuff. Little clip that Doc prepared
Oh,
for
yeah.
us. It's not very long, but it's very powerful. Hello to all the live chatters and my fellow panel members. And I will pose this question for everyone. You can be thinking about it. And this pertains directly to Cuss Road. These guys were there from, let's just say Bushman found this place around 10:30. That's pretty close. I know it is. And then he calls it in, and these other officers and authorities start arriving immediately afterwards. They're there until after dark. We know that. We've got the photos. Doc is, and others have, So allegedly, after all this shit is said and done, and there's 30 plus officers probably in and out of that area, the road's blocked. Allegedly, they found an old pallet and a couple of old rotten peat moss bags. Where's the photos of that? After an all day everything, we've never seen a photo of any of it. So anyway,
Correct.
that's all I got. It's going to be a great show. So let's do it.
Thank you very much, Jack61. Thank you so much. Next, we have Alice. Alice, how are you coming along? And thank you for showing up. That's fantastic. Alice.
Hi, Doc. Hi, everyone on panel. Hi, everyone in chat. Great to see you all. Looking forward to what you've got for us tonight, Doc.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Alice. Next, we have I don't recall. How are you coming along?
I'm doing well and want to welcome everybody to Reading with the Crew.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And next we have Susan. Susan, how are you coming along? How's your laptop coming along?
Oh, my new laptop is just fantastic. Jack helped me with a bunch of stuff yesterday. It's so nice to have a techie on in the crew. But yeah, ready to sniff out some more of this canine evidence.
Fantastic. Oh no. Thank you so much.
You bet.
This is going to be a very interesting show, I can see already. And next we have Just Rhonda. Just Rhonda, welcome to the podcast. How are you coming along?
Thank you, and glad to be on the panel with everyone. I'm not even gonna lie, I've had a pretty rough week.
Yeah.
So, the last couple of days in particular. So, anyway, trying to push that aside, or the next thing to deal with later, and we'll handle this today, and it will be really good. I'm excited.
Yes. Thank you so much, Just Rhonda. Totally understandable. Thank you so much. Alice, would you like to call out a few of the people in chat, the good people in chat? Fantastic that so many have rolled up.
Yeah, I sure can. Just let me scroll up the top here. We've got Rhonda in the chat. We've got Katie Did It in chat. Hi, Katie Did It. We've got Andy B, JD, Sheila Smokey, Master Cedar, Dark Side of the Moon, Colette M, Pete Moss.
Welcome.
We've got Emily says hey. I think Emily's a new one. We've got who else have we got? Under Your Scars is in chat. Angie Dickinson. Hi Angie,
Welcome.
great to see you.
Welcome.
We've got Anthony D. We've got Wooden Pallet and Pete Moss. That was a Susan. That was a Susan. I seen that in
That was a
chat
good one.
earlier.
That was a good one.
Wooden Pallet, Pete Moss. We've got Charlotte Dowling. Hi, Charlotte. Lovely to see you. We have the beautiful Nosy Wren in chat with us tonight.
Welcome.
Hi, Nosy.
Welcome.
Great to see you. We miss you too. We've also got Catnet. The beautiful Catnet is in Supermod. We've got TTM Fangirl. Hi,
Welcome.
TTM. Great to see you. We've got Graham Moss. Hi, Graham. Lovely to see you. Glad you're here. We've got Yoga for the Ageless. Hi, Yoga. Great to have you with us. And we've got, let's see, we've got
Good.
Gloria. Gloria's joined us as well. Hi,
Yep.
Gloria. Hi, Colette. Lovely to see you all. Thanks all for joining us.
We've got James Crane as well.
That's
Fantastic.
Yoga. Yeah, that's Yoga.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Well, look, guys, what we're going to do, we're not going to waste any time because we have a lot to cover. Just please remember, sometimes, I'm not sure whether Jack61 will put up the warning. Sometimes we do use harsh language, so please forgive us. But what we're going to do, we're going to make a start. And what I want to cover first of all, before we actually go on with the chapter and talk about the canines, I'm going to answer some of the questions that were raised in the series so far involving the canines. And guys, I just want to say that we're on the Foul Play team, we're all very impressed with the questions that you've come up with. So what we'll do, we'll make a start, guys. Jack61, can we have the very first slide? It's 1A. We'll just wait for that to come up. And again, thank you so much for joining us. It's very, very much appreciated. All right, so we'll just wait for the very first slide.
Doc, that's out of the new this is out of the new batch, right?
New batch? Yep, it's slide 1A. I'll just wait for that to come up. All right,
Yeah,
so as you know, Yep, no rush. We'll just wait for that to come up.
Right,
as you know, guys. Yep. All right. So as you know, there's been a lot of interest in the topic that we've been discussing about both the cadaver dogs and also the scent dogs that were called by the investigators to the Avery salvage yard. And that was the correct thing to do, right? Call in the dogs, bring in the canines, do preliminary searches and see what they found. Now, what is interesting here is there were 2 items, probably actually more, that were discovered on November the 6th. And John Ertl and his team went out to Mitchell's Quarry and they found both blood, rocks that were stained with blood, and also tissue. Now, if you read the reports, there are actually several items that were found, and John Ertl tested these items for the presence of blood, and they were presumptive positive for blood. But the most important thing here, guys, is that 3 cadaver dogs hit on these items, 3 of them. So, cadaver dogs are specific for human decomposition. John Ertl collected these items and they eventually went to the crime lab. Now, as you can see here, and this is important because many questions were asked about this, as you can see, Cherie Culhane signed the report. Cherie Culhane was the DNA analyst who examined all the forensic evidence and did DNA analysis. So as the analyst, she signs the report. But note underneath that report, it's countersigned by Marie Beth Veriali. And a lot of people were asking, well, where does John Ertl fit into the scheme? And we'll talk about John Ertl because, right, Jack61, he's a very interesting character, John Ertl.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll be talking about John Ertl, and this is very interesting. No, Marie Beth Variali is Cherie Culhane's direct supervisor. She's the boss of the DNA lab. Any report that comes out of that laboratory must be countersigned by Marie Beth Variali. And for those of you who are astute, there's only one report that wasn't signed by Marie Beth Variali. Does anyone, Jack 61, do you remember what report that was?
It was the, pardon my language, the fucking deviation.
Correct. So the only form that Marie Beth Variali didn't sign was the variation form for item FL, right? Now, look how important this is, guys. Marie Beth Variali countersigns for the Attorney General, Peg Lottenschlager. Now remember, we all know who Peg is. She is the one that whitewashed the investigation of what happened to Stephen Avery in 1985. She basically said, nothing to see here, right, guys? Right, Jack 61?
That's right.
She basically whitewashed the entire investigation, and that's why Stephen Avery's attorneys filed for the civil suit, right? He wanted to get justice. Anyway, if you notice, the designee countersigns for the Attorney General, and in that report it says, and I'll read it, I do hereby certify this document consisting of 3 pages to be a true and correct report of the findings of the State Crime Laboratory on the items examined as shown in this report, which means that the responsibility goes to Marie Beth Variali, right? She countersigns for the Attorney General. Now, why is this report so important? Have a look at what it's got. It's got item AM and item AN. These are the items that 3 cadaver dogs hit, and Cherie Culhane examined them. Now, remember, guys, in the previous podcast, to our shock and horror, John Ertl, remember Jack 61? Remember, guys? He had no idea of what the results were.
That's right.
What the outcome was. Right, Jack 61?
That's right.
So he went and collected these items. Cherie Culhane examined them, and that's it. John Ertl wasn't even told what the outcome was. Now, Jack 61, can we have the next slide, please?
But before we move forward with
Yes.
that, I just want to make the comment that just for context, that when he was sent over, when he came over to him and his people came over to Mitchell's quarry, they not only collected and tested these various things, they also dug down 4 to 6 feet straight down because they didn't know what the hell they had, right?
That's correct. That's a very good point. And the remarkable thing, remember, guys, is that the cadaver dogs were called the very next day to go back to Mitchell's quarry to find out what the hell happened, and the cadaver dogs failed to hit. And Jack 61 gave you the reason why they failed to hit is because they dug all the dirt out. So hence, what they did is they removed the scent source, right? Now, this is remarkable, right, guys? Because the cadaver dogs went out on November the 6th. Dedering asked Julie Kramer and other dog handlers to go back to Mitchell's quarry and check it out again, despite 3 cadaver dogs hitting. So when the cadaver dogs went back in, I think it was on the 7th, there was no hit because, as Jack 61 said, they dug out the scent source. They removed the scent source. And I think Jack 61 said that dug 4 to 6 feet of dirt. Right, Jack 61?
That's right. That's what was in that report, as I recall.
Yep. So clearly John Ertl wanted to find out what the hell was going on, right? Oh, and also Rumor Has It, member for 1 month, foul play obsessed. Thank you so much, Rumor Has It. Very much appreciated. Anyway, getting back to the report, I had no idea what the significance of this was, right? Alice, do you see the slide 1B?
Yes, Doc, I can see it.
Can you read it out? This is the findings of Cherie Cohane on item AM and item AN. Go for it, Alice.
Okay. Chemical analysis of reddish brown stains from the rocks, item AM, and the possible tissue, item AN, indicated the presence of blood. However, these stains were not human in origin.
Right. So back then, years ago, I had no idea what the significance was, right? And I think most people on the panel in chat are thinking, what the hell? But the question is this, right? Now we know better. These were two items hit upon by cadaver dogs. And Cherie Cohane said they're not human in origin. But the question is, nothing else is mentioned in that paper, in the report that she wrote. She didn't state how she determined that these samples hit by 3 cadaver dogs were non-human in origin, right? And we discussed it last week. Imagine if she did a DNA profile and that profile came back as being Teresa Halbach. Then that's going to be potentially very embarrassing for the state. How are they possibly going to explain what part of Teresa Halbach's tissue, likely skin, they said it was flesh, is doing in Mitchell's Quarry? Right, Jack 61? How was the state going to explain that?
They couldn't. It would have blown the case up, and they knew that. I mean, to me,
Correct.
Doc, I mean, I'm not a laboratory person, never have been, but I would just think that in the course of her doing whatever, she would have provided that testing information in this report if she actually tested the damn thing.
Correct. Normally what you do, if you're given a forensic sample like this, you would extract genomic DNA, do a PCR test, and determine whether it gives you a profile, right? So Cherie Cohane never mentioned anything and said, no, not human in origin. Susan, do you have a comment?
I do. I have a question. I'm wondering why the dogs would hit on this if it wasn't human. They're
human.
sniffing for human.
Decomposition, correct. And you see, thank you so much, Susan. I'll get to you in a second, Jack 61. This is the real issue for me. There wasn't just one hit by a cadaver dog, there were actually 3. These dogs are trained exclusively to pick up human decomposition. They don't pick up animal decomposition. That's the important point. Jack 61, did you have a comment?
No, Doc, I forgot to mute. I'm good.
Okay. So here's the problem. The presumptive tests were done by John Ertl, and he confirmed the presence of blood. But Jack 61, if we can have a look at the next slide, I want to say publicly on the channel, I'll just wait till that slide comes up. I want to say publicly on the channel that I owe Cherie Cohane a big apology. Guys, is everyone shocked? I owe my ex-girlfriend a big apology because I'm asking myself, well, wait a minute. How did Cherie Cohane distinguish between, say, human blood and animal blood? If it was non-human, it had to be animal, right, guys? So I did some research, and lo and behold, and I'll read it, there is a new forensic technique that can distinguish between human blood and animal blood. So I owe Cherie Cohane a big apology, right? So somehow she must have used a test to distinguish between human blood and animal blood. So I looked at the title and I quote, researchers use infrared light and sophisticated statistics to recognize origin of blood left at possible crime scenes. So maybe Cherie Cohane likely used one of these techniques. What do you think, guys on the panel? What do you think in chat? Do we owe Sheree Cohane a big apology? Jack 61.
I don't know yet, because was this test available in 2005?
Well, Jack 61, can we have a look at the next slide, please? So
Sure.
me, being a scientist, I was curious, so I wanted to find the original paper in which this research was done. And lo and behold, Jack 61, the test was developed 15 years after Sheree Cohane said, no, not human in origin, right? And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, how on earth was Sheree Cohane 15 years ahead of the curve? The obvious answer is no way. So it is very difficult to determine the difference between human blood and animal blood. Quite clearly, you have to use sophisticated biochemical tests to determine the difference between animal blood and human blood. So I read the article, I got the original research paper, and it says, you can see the title, Discrimination Between Human and Animal Blood by Attenuated Total Reflection Fourier Transform Infrared Spectroscopy. Guys on the panel, yes or no, do you think Sheree Cohane used this specific technique to distinguish between human blood and animal blood? Alice, do you reckon she used this technique?
Nope.
I don't recall. Yes or no? Do you think she used this technique 15 years ago?
I do not. No.
Susan?
Impossible. No.
Jack 61?
No way.
Just Rhonda? Just Rhonda, you there? Probably doing something, right? But and also people in chat, do you think that Sheree Cohane used this particular technique? And if you look at the paper, it says something very, very important. It says, current serological blood tests are destructive and often provide false positive results. Here, we report on the development of a non-destructive method that could potentially be applied at the scene for differentiation of human and animal blood using attenuated total reflection Fourier transform infrared spectroscopy and statistical analysis. Now, guys, maybe I'm smoking something, but there is no way that Cohane back in 2005 could have possibly even dreamt of a technique like this. Ertl did a presumptive testing using phenolphthalein, and it came up positive for blood. 3 cadaver dogs hit on the blood and the tissue. And remember, guys, in one report, they even mentioned bone. Ertl was so concerned that he dug 6 feet into the dirt, right, Jack 61? He dug all the dirt out and sifted it and found nothing. So how on earth, and Jack 61, correct me if I'm wrong, but do we have any in situ photographs?
Not one, not a single one of Mitchell's quarry.
We do not have any in situ photos. So guys, can you see how Sheree Cohane effectively made 2 pieces of forensic evidence disappear, right? And this is the common theme that we get all the time. Forensic evidence just disappears, which is truly remarkable. So if Kathleen Zellner could ever get to retest item AM and item AN, that'll be wonderful. Imagine if that contains the genomic DNA of Teresa Halbach. How on earth is the state going to explain that? Susan?
Wow. James Regal says no matter how she determined the difference, she should have stated how she came to that decision.
100% correct. You can never, in a report that the Attorney General potentially can see, attorneys can see, you need to specify exactly how you determine them to be non-human in origin. And this is a concern because if that flesh and blood was animal, then how on earth can 3 cadaver dogs make a mistake like that? That's huge. So quite clearly, I think Cherie Cohane simply let it slip under the cover and nobody asked any questions. Jack 61, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe item AM and item AN are ever mentioned in any trial. Jack 61, have you ever seen it? Anybody on the panel ever seen it?
If it is, I don't recall it at all.
No,
Susan.
I haven't. Nope.
Yep, correct. Never seen it at all. And we welcome Audra M, who's just joined the chat discussion. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, Jack 61, can we have a look at the next slide, please? So again, item 8. Yep.
Sorry, Jack.
Alex.
Just while Jack's getting that up, we've had a few people join us in chat. We've got Rhonda SD, who's joined us in chat. I'm sure there was somebody else. Rumour has it she joined us a wee bit ago.
Welcome.
Hi, Rumour. Nice to see you. We've got James Regal, who's joined us, and Audra M, who's joined us as well. So
Awesome.
hello and welcome to each of you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Now look, the Foul Play team got a ton of questions regarding Pam of God, Pam Sturm. Now, I think everyone on the panel will agree, and everyone in chat, the most important piece of forensic evidence in the entire case is the Toyota RAV4. Whether you believe there's one or two or many, that's irrelevant. The important thing is a Toyota RAV4 was discovered on the Avery salvage yard on November the 5th, 2005 by Pam of God and her daughter. Now, you know, and everyone knows, that finding that RAV4 was crucial for law enforcement to come onto the property. Don't even think about anything else. Finding that RAV4 was quintessential to this investigation. Jack 61.
Without a doubt, the RAV is the single most important piece of evidence, without a doubt.
Right. So I want to set the stage, because having done this chapter on the canines made me question everything all over again. I wanted to find out exactly what Pam of God did, right? When I say Pam of God for the new people, I'm referring to Pam Sturm. Now, remember this. I want to set the scenario. One day prior, on November the 4th, a flyover was done over the Avery salvage yard and surrounding properties and quarries. In that aeroplane was Sheriff Pagel, and I think there was the pilot, obviously, and Baldwin, I believe. Is that right, Jack 61? I think Wendy Baldwin was up there as well. There was definitely Sheriff Pagel, Jack 61.
She took the video, as far as I know, the terrible video.
Okay. Now, they were up in the air for hours, and we have how many minutes in total, Jack 61, of the flyover video? A couple of minutes?
It's not long. It's just, it's just a few minutes, like 2 or 3. I don't know. I think the whole thing's like 12 minutes long or something like that.
Yeah.
There's not much of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and according to the state, it's unedited. So these guys flew up in the air for over 3 hours and only have 4 minutes of video. Anyway, no one in the aeroplane or in any report mentioned seeing a RAV4. And as you know, guys, we've seen the pictures. Even though there were branches on the RAV4 and around the RAV4, there was a hood and other items. Right at the back of the RAV4, guys on the panel, what was sticking out like a sore thumb right on the back of the RAV4? Who would like to say it? Alice.
It was a spare tire on the back with a cover on it, a black cover on it, with huge white writing saying RAV4.
Correct. And I remember reading a report. Thank you, Alice. I remember reading a report in which Tom Yunder was on the property on November the 4th, and he said, the plane flew so low that I could see the pilot, which meant that they were definitely looking for a Toyota RAV4. There's no report that mentions on November the 4th the presence of a RAV4 on the property, right? Now, one day after, so I want to set the scene. Pam of God rolls up to where Scott Blowdorn and Ryan Hilligus are. This is on the Saturday morning. And she rolls up with her daughter, and they roll up late. Everyone has already gone searching different locations. Pam of God says to Ryan and Scott, I want to search the Avery salvage yard. She's the one that told them, I want to search the Avery salvage yard, right? So Scott Blowdorn and Ryan Hilligus gave Pam of God a map, a camera. That camera belonged to Scott Blowdorn. So I've read all the testimonies. I've refreshed my memory of what transpired. She got a map, a camera, and the direct phone number to Sheriff Pagel. Remember, Pagel was up in the aeroplane one day prior. They didn't see anything, or they never reported a RAV4. So Pam of God and Nicole go to the Avery salvage yard. Now, note, Pam Sturm happens to be the second cousin of Teresa Hallbach. She was also a licensed private investigator. And Jack 61 set the scene beautifully by saying, she's never been to the Avery salvage yard before. It is 40 acres. It's massive. And Jack 61, approximately how many cars were there all together on that salvage yard back then?
A little over 3,800.
Nearly 4,000 vehicles. Now put yourself in Pam of God's shoes, right, guys? You roll up to the Avery salvage yard. You have never been there before. You roll up with your daughter. She rolls up at about 10 to 10 in the morning. She gets permission from Ertl to search the property. He goes, yeah, go. There's been other searchers before you who've come onto the property, but yeah, go ahead. Alice, do you have a question?
Hey, Doc. Now, because these fucking pictures bug my head. Do we know which one of these white buildings that's in the top corner is the like the shop where she went to ask for permission? Do we know which one?
I'm going to use my cursor and I'm going to circle it.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, so she went up to the shop and that's where she encountered Ertl. Ertl was talking to somebody outside. So she went up to the blue shop that says Avery salvage yard. So she went there first. So she's right at the front of the Avery salvage yard.
Jack, I can't see your cursor now.
No, I can't.
Can everybody else? No, it's right behind. It's right behind Ma and Pa's trailer, which is up by the trees at the corner.
There it is.
Yeah, right there.
I got my cursor back.
Okay, right. So where did she go for permission? Right,
that building.
Yep.
Right.
To the
now, from there, where was Ryan Hilligus and Scott Blowdorn? Do we know?
No. They were at Teresa's, where Teresa was staying.
At her house. Yeah.
Teresa's house. Scott Blowdorn and Ryan Hilligus.
When she went to the salvage yard.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm trying to get at, Doc? Right? Look at that map and look at the dirt paths, right? You've got the one on the far right that goes all the way down to the bottom where she so-called went to find the RAV, right? But if she's in that second building, right, away down there, and there's the barn, right? But you could have taken that top dirt road from that building that I'm talking about, where she got the permission, right? How
Correct.
the hell did she know? Because if that was me, I would have came out of that building and I would have went along the top of the photo, the road along the top
Correct.
of the photo, to
Of
the
course,
first set of
that's
cars.
Yes.
logical. Yeah.
Yes. You
Logical.
would have
Thank
followed.
you,
You
Susan.
would.
So that is
Yeah.
logical, right? But
Yes.
Correct.
what I know is that she came down that the long road on the far right, right
On
the
the
way
far
down
right.
the wee
Correct.
pile of cars on the bottom nearest the barn,
Yes.
you know, and then hallelujah, God shone a light and the car was up there. You know,
Jack,
correct.
no way in hell can that happen on a 40-acre fucking lot full of cars. Period. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're fucking Satan himself. There is no way in hell she's found that motor just by the fucking finger of God. You know what I mean? She's been
Oh,
given
don't
a
worry.
map. She's been told what road to go down. You
Yes.
know.
Yes.
And
Yes.
just make out that you've searched a few of the cars to begin with, so that you can say, "Oh, I searched some of the cars," and
She
then
said.
God
She
points
said.
to the rest
She
of the
said.
way.
She said they searched 50
Bullshit.
cars. She said they searched
Jack,
50 cars.
I think they
But
took the road down in front of the crusher over there, all the way to the right.
they did. They
Yeah,
did
over
because
here.
Yeah.
she actually
No,
met.
over. Yeah, that one.
Yeah,
And where you
yeah,
were
exactly.
circling for the RAV, it's to the right of that where those trees are.
Correct. Yeah, correct. Because she actually does mention the crusher. So what Alice said was very, very intriguing. So she originally went to the office where Ertl
Yes.
was, and 100% correct. You would have naturally followed the path to go up that road where the cars were further up. Jack 61, if you can just backtrack and go back to where the office was, you can see that the natural path would have taken Pam of God completely away from where she went. That means she had to have backtracked, Susan.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, she backtracked, went back down, and then took the path where Chucky's house was, and also
Exactly.
Mama Avery's house. So somehow, instead of following the natural road, because she's never been there before, she backtracked and took the road past Chucky's house. She walked straight down past the crusher, and she found the RAV4, right? In world record time, right? And don't worry, we're going to actually read her testimony, parts of her testimony. Alice, do you have a comment?
Yeah, sorry, Doc. Barb's in chat. Hi, Barb. Nice
Oh,
to see
welcome,
you.
Bob.
She says you have the shop wrong. It's the white square one.
Okay, let's have a look
So
at it.
the white square building is the shop.
Oh, that one there?
Yeah.
That one there?
It'd have to be that one.
All right.
That's the
Yeah,
rectangle.
Okay.
That,
That's right on the road there that they
yeah.
took down then.
What side is the front door on? Is the front door to the right of that building or to the left of that building? Because
I
no
think it's
matter
to the
what, she
right.
still have to double back up onto that road to come down that road. If the
Correct.
front door is on the right hand side, then fair enough. She's just went in the door there, asked permission, came back out. Then
Yeah, it's on the
that's
right,
fair enough.
Alice. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
It's on
she
the
could
right
have.
hand side.
I guess she could have parked in this area here because it looked like there's other cars parked there, right?
Yeah.
She drove in. She drove in. Correct.
Right, and then
She
went
actually
into the
drove-
front door. Run to the front door here.
Correct.
Yeah, there we go.
Right,
Okay.
Correct.
right.
Correct.
Okay, so that makes sense. Yeah, so you come out there and you go down because you can't really see cars or the rest of that dirt road at the top. Right, that's fair enough. Thank you, Barb.
Thank you.
But it's still a lot of shite. Her finding
Oh,
that motor, the way she found
it
that
is.
motor. It's
Oh,
just
it's complete
It is.
bullshit. It's complete
It
bullshit.
is. It is.
Kay would
Just
like-
Rhonda.
Kay would like-
Just Rhonda.
Yeah, sorry. Kay, well, first of all, I thought that the square one was the building, but I couldn't be 100% certain. But I was gonna say, and I thought, no, I'm not gonna try to like jump in and be contrary, but I was
No,
trying to
not at
figure
all. Not at all.
I've how do I say this? I've been close, is all I'll say.
Yes.
Anyway, doesn't matter. But Kay would like some explanations of the map of the yard. Where did it come from? Did somebody draw it?
Well,
Um,
it likely would have been Ryan and Scott, because I think what they did is they subdivided the Avery salvage yard and surrounding areas into grids, and that's what is remarkable is that it was Pam of God who said to Ryan and Scott, I want to search the Avery salvage yard. She specifically wanted to search the Avery salvage yard. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but is she somehow related to Sheriff Pagel? Does anyone know? Is there a distant relation to Sheriff Pagel?
It seems
Yes,
like, and
there is.
I hope that
Pam
somebody can
Sturm.
correct me, that she was related by marriage, I think, some kind of distance relation or something, I'm
Right.
remembering.
Right. Right.
So Barb says the door's on the side facing the house. So we had it wrong again. So it's
You
facing
mean-
north, the door.
You mean it's the other
or
side?
on the north side of the building. Yeah.
Up on the top.
Oh, so
Yeah.
what's that? Is that the
So that's
I'm useless. So the north side would be where?
Up on top. Up on
Up
top.
the top.
Yep. Up on top.
Right. Well, see that
That
puzzle.
makes that actually makes it worse.
Exactly.
That actually
That's my first fucking point. You know what I mean?
Yep.
If she goes on a door at that bit, you follow that road that you see at the top. You don't go up and round the corner and then follow the road, the
Yes.
long road all the way down, because that's where you see the first lot of cars. I mean, she meant to know that there's cars doing that far down that road. You know what I mean? You would go that way where you see the cars fucking set. So yeah,
Yep.
thanks, Barb. That's just knocked me for six again. That's just that's that.
And
now
if I
now
could-
she says facing all the other buildings. So now I'm
Right.
thinking it's on the west side. Yeah.
Right.
That makes it even worse. Stop.
That's
Yes.
exactly right. Because and again, look, we are so blessed to have a family member come in and set the record straight. You're not going to get better than that anywhere. And we thank you so much, Barb. And please, if you can add anything to this, please add it in chat. We'll read it out. Susan, do you have a comment?
Yeah, she just confirmed that west side.
The
Right.
west side, right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Barb. You're supposed to help with my
Yeah.
confusion, not make my confusion even worse.
well, the issue here is what made Pam and Nicole go back down and take the alternative path, which is on the extreme right-hand side, right? And so this is a very, very interesting question. Instead of following the natural arc of the road and going further up, she must have backtracked and took the outer boundaries. Now remember, that RAV4 could have been hidden anywhere within a building, could have been disguised, or it could have been anywhere in that Avery salvage yard, anywhere. Pam of God, Nicole had no idea even if that RAV4 was present. But notice, Pam Sturm deliberately wanted to go to the Avery salvage yard. She was asked in court, well, what made you decide to search there? And guess what? Guess what she said? She said, I wanted to search the last place that she was seen alive. Now, wait a minute. Who kept on saying the same thing in court? Who said exactly those same words in court? Does anyone? Sugar, do you remember who it was? Susan, do you remember who it was?
They wanted to search the last place she was seen alive?
Yeah.
No.
Do you know who kept on saying those words in the court?
You should know. You should know.
Kratz?
You should know,
Kratz.
Sugar.
Sugar.
Kratz. Kratz. He kept on echoing the exact same words. That's very, very interesting. So, story goes, within 20 to 25 minutes, in a place where Pam Sturm has never been, she finds the RAV, but she's shocked. Why is she shocked? Jack 61. Why is she shocked when she comes up to the RAV? Jack 61.
It's kind of blue-green. It's all weird. It's just weird as fuck. Weird.
The RAV4 was the wrong color.
Yep.
She said it was blue, not green. So this is very interesting because that's an embedded confession right then and there. So she phones up Pagel, directly phones up Pagel. She speaks with Pagel and also with Wiegert, Mark Wiegert, who tells her not to touch anything. Susan.
I'm just looking at this map. She walks out of that office, or they met right in front or whatever. She's totally walking away from all the cars.
Away.
That's
correct. That's 100% correct. She's actually walking towards the boundary line where there are no minimal vehicles. You're correct. If you're coming into that yard looking for Teresa's RAV4, you search amongst the cars, guys. Correct?
Yeah.
Yes or no? That's what you do. She actually went away from the vehicle.
I just want to
Jack
point
61.
I just want to point something out for anyone new out there that may be listening. Just remember what Doc just said there. She asked to go if somebody searched the Avery salvage.
Correct.
Scott and Ryan both knew, and searchers had already been there, and they had not assigned anyone to go there. That's what they said. I don't believe
Beach
it.
went there. David Beach, who's Teresa's cousin, went there.
And his girlfriend.
Correct. They, David Beach is Teresa's cousin. He went there, I think, the day prior, and he gave Stephen Avery the missing poster, which they put up in the actual workshop. They pinned it up, and there's we can actually see video evidence of it that they pinned it up in the shop, right? So David Beach obviously didn't find any vehicle. And don't forget, the Avery salvage yard was open to the general public, right? Anybody could have wandered through looking for car parts. Nobody reported a blue RAV. Further, Ertl was there, I think, with Robert Fabian, sighting in a weapon. He was at the pit. He never saw a RAV4 because I didn't see anything, right? And furthermore, the flyover confirmed there was no RAV4 there. So something weird happened that Pam of God rolls up with Nicole, who's 29 years old, by the way. They roll up on a Saturday morning and Pam of God says, I want to go to the Avery salvage yard. Alice, did you have a comment?
No, Doc, it just pisses me off because that motor could have got on that property any direction.
Correct.
Because there was no fencing. You know what I mean? There was no fencing off the quarry parts to the salvage yard. Even Rodant said, and Stephen said himself, that Rodant would drive up the side of the field to get to his trailer. So he didn't even have to come up Avery salvage, Avery Road to get to the salvage yard, So there was other ways to get onto that property. And for her to come out of that door, it makes me so angry because you come out of that door, you clearly see the cars in front of you, Doc. It would be hard to miss. So you would go that direction, you know what I mean? Not go out the door, turn right, go up the top of the road, and then walk down the fucking dirt path on the right-hand side. It just does not make fucking sense. It really doesn't. And it annoys me so much that people think that Stephen was even stupid enough to do this on his own frigging property, never mind anything else.
100% correct, but wait, it actually gets better. So when she phoned up Pagel and spoke with Pagel and also with Mark Wiegert, the very first person that rolls up is Remika. to confirm the VIN number. But what is remarkable is that in order to get, please understand, in order to get law enforcement on that property, they needed a probable cause, right? They just couldn't walk on that property and say, oh, we heard a rumor, there's a RAV4 here, we want to check. No. No judge would have signed it. So hence, notice what happened, what transpired. Pam of God, who's a citizen, happens to find the Toyota RAV4 in world record time. She's actually better than a cadaver dog. She's actually better than a scent dog. In my opinion, she walked directly to the RAV4. There's no question. She knew, she had foreknowledge of where that RAV4 was, because that's the only way you can explain how Pam of God and Nicole find that RAV4 amongst nearly 4,000 vehicles in a place she has never been before, right? It cannot be by chance. So once that RAV4 is found, it now means that the law enforcement can come in and say, hey, look, a private citizen found what we believe to be the victim's vehicle on the salvage yard. Boom, everyone descends. Literally, hundreds of people descended on that property. It's as though they were waiting for the call, because the way they responded, right, Jack 61, right, guys on the panel, the way law enforcement responded was phenomenal. They had helicopters, they had searchers, all the district attorneys showed up. It was like an open party. Everyone descended on the salvage yard. Susan, do you have a comment?
It was breathtaking how quickly the response was.
And we can see in the news reports all the police cars that were lined up on Avery Road and surroundings. It was a response I've never seen before. It was swift, it was massive, it was decisive, and it was crucial that Pam of God finds the RAV, rings Sheriff Pagel directly. And by the way, no one else, no other searcher, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, received a camera and received the direct phone line to Sheriff Pagel, Jack 61.
Not that's ever been disclosed to any of us or in any report that we've ever got. You compare, talking about this overwhelming response. This was a way,
Christine Reedy. Don't mention Christine Reedy. That's my trigger.
Well, I was going to mention number one, Christine Reedy, that for sure. If you compare the two, it's so ridiculous. But the more important part is what you detailed, and it's this little way that they were able to get on the property without getting a search warrant, right?
Correct.
Shady as hell.
Correct. So think about it. Pam of God is related to Teresa Horbach, the victim. Pam of God requests specifically to go to the Avery salvage yard, specifically request. She's provided with a camera. She's provided with the direct phone number to Sheriff Pagel, who I believe Pam of God is distantly related to. So you've got this closed circle around Pam of God. And Pam of God, with her daughter, discovers the RAV4 in world record time. Clearly, Ertl had no idea that there was a car there, right? Because he gave permission to Pam Sturm and Nicole. Yeah, go search, no problems. So
you mean
Ertl,
you mean Earl?
Earl, I always get him confused. Earl Avery gave permission to Pam and Nicole Sturm. Yeah, go search. Now, if you're Earl, you're not going to, if there's something nefarious there, you're not going to invite members of the public to go through your property, right? So quite clearly, There's something going on here. And to make matters worse, Pam of God also finds the burner phone. Now, how do you work this one out? She finds the burner phone with Campion a couple of days later, and Colburn is the one that comes along and takes photographs of the burner phone. No one knows what's happened to the burner phone. So Pam of God finds the RAV4. She also finds the burner phone as well. Truly remarkable. But guys, don't let me try and influence you. Quite clearly, the investigators and the attorneys wanted to know, how in the hell did you find this RAV4? Jack 61, are we able to look at the next slide, please? So what I did, I went to the pre-trial, right? I wanted to have a look at Pam Sturm's pre-trial, what she said in the pre-trial. When I do an investigation, when I do some research, it's always best to go to the very first words that people have said, because the very first things they say are probably the truth, because they haven't been extensively coached, right? Now, I don't recall. Would you like to read the buting part? Can you see it? Can you actually see the slide?
Yes.
And Susan, do you see the A for answer? This is Pam Sturm.
Yes, Doc, I
No.
do.
So let's go for it. This is what Buting was questioning Pam Sturm in the pre-trial. Let's go for it, guys.
Now, it was your intention, you said, to look inside each vehicle as well as look for Teresa's vehicle?
Yes.
Why did you pick the part of the yard that you went to start searching?
I believe that God led us that way through prayer.
Okay, did you say a prayer before you went in?
Sure, I did.
And I mean, were you asking for some guidance on which place to start searching, or?
Yes. And I think all my cousins were praying too. So it really worked.
Okay, I believe in that power as well, but I guess my question would be, as far as the area that you chose to search in the salvage yard, of those thousands of cars, were you asking for that kind of guidance?
I sure was.
Dear God, tell me which way to go.
Sure, I was.
Okay, and so that's how you decided?
Yes.
There was nothing about any aspect of the
Oh, please.
property you were searching that gave you any reason to go to one place versus the other?
No.
Were there other people in the salvage yard as well?
Yes.
Did you speak with any of them?
No.
You didn't ask them to see if they could help you search as well?
No.
Did you ask them whether they had seen a car like hers, a RAV4, anywhere in there?
Oh, no. The people I came upon were speaking Spanish.
Okay. So is that why you didn't go up to them? Because you thought you wouldn't be able to communicate?
No.
Well, why did you not?
Because I did not want to get them involved.
Was there some reason?
I didn't know these people, and I'm on Avery's salvage yard.
Well, did you have some reason to feel guilty about being there on the...
No, I just thought perhaps they may be dangerous, so I would not approach them.
Okay, so you were concerned already that there was something amiss in the whole Avery salvage yard? Is that what you're saying?
Jack 61, you want to read Attorney Fallon?
Sure. Objection. He's leading the witness, and she just she just perceived danger music. So I would object to the use of the term foul or something amiss. I think her testimony is clear. She felt there was some danger, and that's why she didn't approach.
The objection is sustained. In addition, I guess I'm not following how some of this line of questioning is relevant to the motion here.
All right, I'll move on, Judge. Can you tell me, was there anything that drew your attention to that particular area where you found it?
No, sir.
And you had looked through how many vehicles before you came upon this RAV4?
Approximately 50.
And that was looking inside as well as looking at the vehicle?
Yes.
Opening trunks and all that, or no?
No.
Just inside?
Right.
Okay, and when you came upon this particular vehicle, this RAV4, was it about how long do you think you had been searching?
Approximately 20, 25 minutes.
All right. Hear what the duck, all right. Now, let's unpack this. This is a court of law in front of a judge. And
Yeah.
the only viable explanation that Pam Sturm could give how she found the RAV in record time was divine intervention from God herself. Susan, do you have an explanation? Do you have an
Well, and I also have to say, from the office, it had to take them at least, 5 minutes to even get to where any cars are to start searching?
Correct.
And then they look at 50 cars?
50
yeah.
vehicles. Even if you spent 30 seconds at each vehicle, we're talking about 25 minutes just looking at those 50 vehicles. So the incredible thing here is that Pam of God in a court was able to say, Judge, I can't explain how on earth I found this vehicle in world record time, but I invoked the power of God. Now, with any, and remember Jack 61, what did Big Jeff used to say? Ma'am, miracles. This has got to be the most biggest whopper, ma'am, miracle you have ever heard. Susan.
Like James Crane says, the cars all parted, and there was the RAV. Like the Red Sea parting.
100% correct. Jack 61, do you have a comment?
Well, I've got several, and I'll keep this concise. And I go back to the day before also on the 4th. Many may not be aware of her statement where she said that, I can't remember, it's been too long since I read it. I should have brushed up and reread the damn thing. But she talks about talking to someone on the phone and finding out about this search. It was actually later in the evening, I believe. And that's how she found out about it. And then she got involved.
She never did any prior searching, Jack 61.
No.
That's a very important point that you just said. Never did any prior searching, and out of the blue, she comes up to Ryan and Scott and deliberately said, I want to search the Avery salvage yard. Jack 61.
I don't know, Doc. It's another one of these stories that, we've been so ingrained with over the years with these various events, and then we hear this excuse of how it happened. This one just feels so concocted to me. It's just, I almost choke on it. It's so terrible. It just feels concocted completely.
And yet, guys, this was accepted as truth.
Yep.
Right? This, you must understand, finding that RAV4 was quintessential to nailing Stephen. Absolutely. If you don't have a RAV4, you've got no probable cause to do a search warrant to come onto the property. One day prior, they'd already searched from the air. They never saw a RAV4. They had no idea about it, right? One day after, Pam of God shows up with her daughter and it's her daughter that takes 6 pictures of the RAV4, right? Six photographs, and everyone from law enforcement descends onto the property. This is truly a remarkable event. So, Jack 61, can we have the next slide, please? So, as you know, we have done extensive analysis. I've read all of Pam Sturm's testimonies, reports, the whole lot. And I'm trying to think to myself, how can this lady outsmart a cadaver dog, outsmart a scent dog? And quite frankly, Jack 61, if we can have a look at the next slide, please. After much consideration, I'm sorry, Pam, I believe in God too, but my bullshit meter, right, Alice? My bullshit meter broke. It went to over 100%. What she said in front of a judge is absolute weapons grade bullshit. Weapons grade bullshit. She could provide no explanation of how a newbie to a property that is 40 acres big, large, with nearly 4,000 vehicles, she literally walked directly to the RAV4. And my analysis, my conclusion is she had foreknowledge of where the RAV4 was. Her behavior indicates foreknowledge, i.e., I've got a map, I know exactly where I'm going, and I know what I'm going to find. And it was like a game for her. Remember, Jack 61, remember, guys, she actually giggled with excitement like a little kid and said, please tell me, did I get it right? Remember, guys, I'm not hallucinating. That's exactly what she did. She giggled with excitement.
Is this it? Is this it?
Is this it? You got to tell me. You got to tell me. And this is her cousin's vehicle and she's been missing since October the 31st. It was like she was playing a game. And you know what the giveaway is? The giveaway is she wasn't expecting to find a blue RAV4. She was expecting to find a dark green one. And you can tell in her voice the shock of finding that vehicle. Susan.
I just wanted to say, if God truly led her there, why did she look through 50 vehicles first?
Correct. In my opinion, she walked past 50 vehicles. She didn't check anything. She knew what Teresa Hallbach's car was, right, Jack 61?
That's right. And I just wanted to add again. This is what I do in this case. A lot of times, I'm forced to do it. I look at end result, and the end result is she drove up, and within 25 to 30 minutes, she found that fucking car. Out of everything you just described, that's complete bullshit. Complete. She had foreknowledge. There's no doubt in my mind.
So what I want to do is go around the panel and tell me complete bullshit, foreknowledge, or God helped her. And in chat, please indicate complete utter bullshit story or God showed her the way. Alice, what do you reckon?
Well, you know my thoughts on it, Doc. It's utter bullshit. Utter bullshit. She knew exactly where she was going or where she had to go. Exactly.
It appears to be the case. Thank you very much, Alice. What about you? I don't recall. Complete bullshit or God from above?
Complete BS.
Thank you. I don't recall. Susan, what do you think? Thank you for your comment. Thank you for your comment. Jack 61, complete bullshit or the hand of God?
Complete bullshit. She had foreknowledge. No doubt about it.
Thank you, Jack 61. Just Rhonda.
Well, you know, I don't like to swear, but I will take one for the team and say complete bullshit.
Oh, 100%. And, most people in the chat, in fact, even God, Graham Moss said, even God got the color wrong. There you go. Yeah. I mean, let's all take jokes aside. If Pam Sturm said, look, somebody gave me a tip, so I knew what I was looking for. Somebody handed in a tip, so I knew what I was looking for. I would have believed her, right? And remember, Jack 61. Remember, guys. Remember what the attorney said. We get tips all the time, right? On both sides. It would have been better if she had actually told the truth, rather than behave like a bad actor in front of a judge. And in actual fact, it's so bad because Mr. Kratz had to stop. Remember Jack 61. Remember Susan. Mr. Kratz had to stop her because she was overexcited. She was overacting, and
That's
people
right.
were going to pick it up.
Yeah.
Right,
That's
Jack
right.
61.
It was awful.
Right,
It
guys?
was 100% Rotten Tomatoes.
As
So
soon as you saw her on the stand, you knew that something was not right. Right? This is complete, utter garbage. No one can outdo a scent dog. No one can outdo a cadaver dog. Right? Pam of God and Nicole went straight to the RAV, called it in, and the cavalry came down and shut the place down. Totally unbelievable. All right, guys. Now, there were questions. Jack 61, if we can go to the next slide. If you think that's bad, just have a look at this, right? John Ertl. He was Mr. Everywhere Man, right? And a lot of people asked questions in chat and they said, hey, look, Dr. Silky, how come Ertl didn't do the DNA analysis? What exactly is his expertise? Now, this is worth going through. There's a little bit of testimony that I want to read out. Now, John Ertl, he was at the Avery salvage yard. He was at the burn pit with a photographer. No photographs, no in situ photographs were taken at the Avery salvage site at the burn pit. He was there. He was also at Cuss Road. He dug out the peat moss bag and a rotten wooden pallet. And as Jack 61 alluded to, there are no in situ photos. He was at Mitchell Quarry. Susan.
He had his photographer at Cuss Road as well.
That's correct? Yes, correct.
And
Zane.
said they took photos. Yeah.
That's right. He said he took photos. We haven't seen him. He was also at Mitchell Quarry, right? Taking out item AM, item AN. There are no in situ photographs anywhere at Mitchell Quarry. So, John Ertl was absolutely everywhere. But what did he actually do? So let's have a look at some of his testimony, because this is going to blow your mind. All right. Now, who would like to be Attorney Fallon? That's in blue, the question. Who would like to read that one out?
I'll take care of Fallon.
61. And who would like to read Ertl's, which is the answer? Who would like to do that?
I'll
Susan?
do it if no one else wants to. Yeah.
All right. So this is Ertl being questioned by Tom Fallon. Let's go for it, guys.
Okay. Line 8. How are you employed?
I work for the State Crime Laboratory in Madison. I'm a forensic scientist. I work for the DNA analysis unit, and I also do crime scene evidence location, recovery, and collection.
How long have you been employed with the Wisconsin State Crime Lab in Madison?
I began there in January of 2000.
Had you had any previous employment as a crime lab analyst prior to that?
My first job as a forensic scientist was with the state.
Uh-oh, we lost you, Susan.
After about a year and a half.
We lost you there. We lost you there. Start over. Line 18.
My first job as a forensic scientist was with the State Crime Lab in Milwaukee. I started there in 97. I moved from there after about a year and a half to the state laboratory in Austin, Texas. And then I moved to Madison Laboratory in 2000.
As a DNA analyst, what do you do for them generally? Hold on.
Now take note, guys, of what Ertl does. Susan, you see it?
Yes. I examine evidence collected at crime scenes. And whether we have collected it or the police agency has collected it, it's brought to the laboratory for analysis. So I will look for biological materials and I will attempt to extract DNA from them and type the DNA, get a genetic profile. Then we take the samples from known individuals. It's usually a blood sample or a swab from inside your cheek. Extract the DNA from that, get the genetic profile, match up the profiles if I can, determine whether or not the DNA from the crime scene item stains is the same as or different than the DNA from known individuals.
Mr. Ertl, what other roles or duties have you been assigned or volunteered to perform for the Crown Lab?
Well, in addition to my major role as a DNA analyst at the laboratory, we have a volunteer system where we do process crime scenes. So if an agency in the state feels uncomfortable or needs help or assistance that we can offer, whether it's just a phone call, get some advice, or whether we actually go to the scene and help them, we'll go. We'll document the scene, photographs. We'll do sketches. But our main job is to find the evidence and collect it and bring it back to the laboratory.
Is there a name for that particular unit or task that you perform?
That's the field response team.
All right. So guys, can you see that John Ertl has the expertise to do all the DNA forensic analysis? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. He has got the expertise. Did he actually do any of the DNA extractions in this case?
Nope.
Not a single
Not
one.
that I know of. And Sherry did all of them, right?
Rico Hain did the whole lot. Did John Ertl have a conflict of interest with Stephen Avery?
Nope.
No, he did
No.
not. No, he did
No.
not. He was not in his background at all.
Who had a massive conflict of interest with Stephen Avery?
Your ex-girlfriend.
Right. So guys, can we have the next slide, please? Now, this is where it gets really weird. So Ertl clearly states, hey, I'm a DNA forensic expert. I extract DNA. I do genomic profiles. I do the whole lot. His expertise was never called upon. This person, Sheriko Hain, did all the forensic DNA analysis. And this is where I have a big issue. So if we have a look at the next, Jack 61, did you have a comment?
Yeah, Doc, she looks pretty sad in this photo. You might want to send some flowers and chocolates. Just, sorry.
No, what's weird, Doc, is that there were, how many pieces of evidence did she?
Over 180, I believe.
180. Why would you not have someone helping you on that?
Well, do you want to have a guess? Do you want to have a guess?
Well, I think I know.
Do you want to play a sound effect?
Oh, not ready. Sorry.
You want to play a sound effect?
Yeah. Let's see.
So as you can see, yep. So as you can see, everything flowed through Sheriko Hain. Okay. Now, if we have a look at the next slide, Alice, do you see that slide?
Sure do, Doc.
I know that Susan does a beautiful. No one can copy Susan when it comes to Ken Kratz. But
No.
Alice, can you read what Ken Kratz said in the trial? This is Stephen Avery's trial.
Okay. You
This
take
is slide 12. No, this is slide 12, Jack 61. Slide 12. But the one before this one. Yep. Have a read of this.
Well, that same woman, Sherry Culhane, processes this vehicle. But because she's the unit head, because this is such an important case, she does the work herself. She does all of the analysis of all of the blood that's found in these cases. Mr. Avery achieved some degree of notoriety back in 2003 when he was exonerated for a 1985 sexual assault conviction.
So Marquez goes, stop dissing your ex-girlfriend. Well, look at this. This is truly remarkable. Now, John Ertl said, hey, I can do all the DNA analysis. That's my expertise. Mr. Kratz says, no. This is such an important case that Sherry Culhane has to do the DNA analysis. Well, I hate to tell Mr. Kratz, it doesn't matter whether the DNA came from Shirley Temple, JFK, Mahatma Gandhi, or from Stephen Avery. DNA is DNA. Any person who knows how to handle DNA can extract the DNA. Saying that this case was so important that Sherry Culhane had to do all the DNA analysis is ridiculous. Now, why is there a conflict of interest? Because Sherry Culhane was the original analysis that handled Stephen's forensic material back in 1985. Right, Jack 61? Right, guys? She's the one that talked about the hair evidence. Susan.
Which was bullshit.
100%
Obviously.
bullshit. She's the one that said, oh yeah, the hair on his shirt resembles Penny Bernstein's hair, which helped get him convicted and sent to prison for something he didn't do. Yes, guys, that was Sherry Culhane back in 1985. Jack 61.
Yeah, and what she did in 2003, she sat on the sample that
for
retesting. She sat on it for a fucking year. I mean, come on.
For a year. Yep.
Did she sit on the sample or did she sit on the results?
I reckon she sat on the result. For a year before disclosing it. However, the appropriate people were told they then had to work out plan B, what they were going to do next, that it wasn't Stephen Avery. It was Gregory Allen's pubic hair. Alice.
Yeah, Doc. I mean, it is absolutely ridiculous. That is one of the biggest fucking conflicts of interest in this whole fucking case. You know what I mean? She's the one that sent him to jail in 85. You know what I mean? And then she's the one that released them in 2003.
And the civil suit.
DNA, you know what I mean? Both supposedly with DNA. And then again, in fucking 2005 when he got sentenced for Teresa. You know what I mean? Correct. She should never have been anywhere near that lab or any of the results. They should have got Ertl in to do that because he's just got as much experience as what she has. He's probably got more because he's maybe a bit older than what she has. I mean, I don't know their ages. I mean, she's pretty scary as it is, but yeah, it is absolutely pathetic. If anybody had a conflict of interest in this case, it was her. It was 100%. Her. Yes.
100%. So she was involved in 1985. In 2003, the exoneration, which directly led to a massive civil suit of $36 million. She saw the opportunity to correct her perceived wrong, by being directly involved in 2005. Now, trust me, you don't need a lot of people in a conspiracy to nail Stephen, but you need an insider, right, Jack 61? You need someone who's sympathetic to the state. I believe that person was none other than Cherie Culhane. Alice.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Doc. But James Regal in chat says Avery supposedly cleaned a crime scene better than any forensic scientist could clean a crime scene. Yet he leaves the vehicle to be found on his property. Where is
Correct.
that on the bullshit meter? That's a ding 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 ding
It's
on the
broken.
bullshit
It's
meter.
broken. It's completely broken. And that's why this whole case makes no sense. And many people, I remember Mindshock always saying, there must have been two Stephen Averys, an idiot and a savant. He's a savant because he has the incredible ability to expunge every atom of Teresa Hallbuck from his trailer and the garage. Don't get me started on IDMFL. Yet makes the most fundamental mistakes by leaving the victim's vehicle out in the open on the salvage yard where anyone can discover it, and he leaves the victim's bones, cremains, and electronics literally outside his back door. So he's got the incredible ability to expunge forensic evidence that not even a cadaver and scent dog can detect, and yet leaves vital clues that a 5-year-old kid can detect. Susan.
And goes out of town. Goes to Crivets.
Yes, he went to Crivets. He never stayed behind. He left because that's what they had organized probably ages ago. He had left the property, right? Now, as you can see, I'm very concerned with Cherie Culhane. But let's have a look at the next slide. This is going to blow your mind. Buting is going, wait a minute. How in the hell did you, how were you assigned to this case? Jack 61, are you able to read Buting's part, which is the question?
Yep.
And just Rhonda, can you see the slide? We'll just wait for Just Rhonda. Just Rhonda, are you there?
Gotta unmute. Unmute, sis. She may have stepped away.
She may have stepped away. Shall we get just, I don't recall. Can you see the slide?
Yes.
Okay. Would you like to read it? Now, this is Buting questioning Culhane. So you're the answer, I don't recall. Jack 61, are you ready?
I'm ready to go.
Let's go for it.
All right. You take steps to be sure that the person assigned to a case has no stake in the outcome of the case or the test.
That's correct.
All right. And indeed, it's your assumption that when evidence comes into you from a police agency, it's your assumption that the police have also taken similar stakes or similar steps to make sure that nobody connected with the suspect has been involved in the collection of evidence, isn't it?
Objection, Your Honor. Speculation.
Asking for her assumption.
She can answer.
Okay, obviously I don't know any of this for a fact, but I would make the assumption that evidence came in from the police agency was maintained integrity.
And collected from somebody who had no connection to the case, you would hope.
Yes.
Okay. Now, in this case, I believe you said that some of your duties involve case flow and case management, right?
Correct.
Does that also involve assigning particular analysts to a particular case?
Yes.
But in this case, you assigned yourself.
Correct.
All right. And that's a decision that you make and yours alone.
Most of the time. Sometimes my supervisor makes that decision, but in this case, I made the decision.
Guys, there you have it. You have it from the mouth of Cherie Cohen. Now, Buting kept on saying, now you want to make sure that there's total integrity. You want to make sure there's no conflict of interest. You want to make sure that all the evidence is handled correctly. Yes, yes, yes. And guess who collected all the evidence? Who was it, Jack 61?
Sherry Colhane.
And who processed all the evidence?
Sherry Colhane.
And was there a conflict of interest?
Huge conflict of interest. And just to add, just briefly, Doc, I'm actually a little surprised that, well, I doubt that it would have came about. I'm a little surprised that she wasn't deposed in 2005.
She should have been.
I think so.
She should have been. She should have been deposed. But guys, can you see how Cohen lied on the stand? No. Yeah, all the evidence has to be properly collected. There must be no conflict of interest. There's got to be integrity. And I assigned myself. Guys, this is another man miracle. This is another Pam of God situation. Jack 61.
Well, I mean, we dance around the conspiracy word because I don't really view it so much as a conspiracy as basically just a plan to rejail Avery, stop the depositions and the lawsuit, and to rejail Avery, to get him off the state's back. Shut him up where he can't do any more damage to the state, because they could not have that civil suit publicly held. It couldn't happen.
Jack, that's the definition of a conspiracy.
Yeah, I know it is. I know it is.
Yeah.
Again, though,
it's just that word has got,
it's got
negative connotations just from
it does, because it
from guilters.
Well, the fact is, though, that literally 3 people could have pulled this off. Everyone else is just told, hey,
yes,
from their superior officers, superiors, lead investigators, tell these other line officers, this guy is the one that did it. Get it in your head, and that's what this is the trail we're following. And most of them are going to just go along with it because they're going to believe these lead investigators.
Correct, but you have to agree. You need an insider. You need someone handling the forensic evidence that can make the case go one way or another. Correct, Jack 61?
That's exactly right.
You need someone who's sympathetic to the state. And
in this country, so many crime labs have been busted. So many analysts have been busted messing with evidence.
Messing with evidence. Evidence tampering. Correct.
Destroying. Yep.
Or destroying, getting rid of evidence. Just ask Rhonda with the case that she's studying with Daniel Holtzclaw. Evidence goes missing. Evidence disappears. Evidence is destroyed, and evidence doesn't. And they prevent you from retesting evidence. Alice, your point.
Yeah, I mean, my point has been the same right from the very beginning of this talk. She owed the state. Now, she's not going to go on the stand and say, no, I was forced to do this by the state. So she's got to say, oh, no, I put myself forward to test the DNA. You know what I mean? Because she's not going to turn and say, oh, no, I fucked up. I got Stephen Avery off. I let him go in 2003. So I owed them a favour. But in my opinion,
100%.
and this is my opinion and my speculation, I think somebody, I don't know if it was Kratz or whoever, Pagel or whoever, has went to her and said, you're the one that got him off. So you're the one that's doing the testing.
In fact, Kratz wrote her an email. Remember, Jack 61? Kratz wrote her an email and basically said, oh, so you're the one that did the testing in 85. Oh, and you're the one that did the testing for his exoneration, Jack 61.
Absolutely. That email, not only that, it really is a really sketchy dance around of what he's saying, what he's implying. He doesn't come out and say it, but you get the meaning. It's terrible. It's absolutely awful. And not only that, guys, and again, this is for some of the newer people that may not know, this ability for these investigators to contact anyone inside that crime lab during an active investigation and say, hey, We need to put her in the house or the garage.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
yes,
bullshit.
that's what I was just going to say as well, Jack. You've got to remember the wee note that was written down. Put her in the house or garage. You know what I mean? In other words, this is you paying us back for letting him out in 2003, and now we're facing a $36 million lawsuit. You know what I mean? So this is what you need to do to rectify that. So get it done.
Correct. Correct.
Another thing I want to add in again for the new
Yes,
people,
Greg,
when the RAV arrives at the crime lab and they go prepare the Groffy gets there and Harrington's already there, other people, and when they get into it, it's not documented at all. Nothing. Not a single that we have, not a single fucking photo, video, nothing. We just
Correct.
expected to believe.
Yes.
Well, they
Just
didn't really
like
report
the
to
box of bones.
Huh? Say that again.
Just like the box of bones. You just have
Yep.
to believe.
Yep.
Correct.
And he says he photographed it.
Yes. Correct. Now, as you can see here, I didn't use any trickery. I used their own words. You have heard their own words. I haven't speculated. We've done none of that. You've seen their own words. You've seen Pam of God, what she came up with. The only way she could explain how she found the RAV was through the intervention of God. You saw here, Cherie Culhane basically say, yeah, I put up my hand, I assigned myself. And you saw John Ertl when he said, hey, I could have done the whole lot. That this is my area of expertise. John Ertl was kept out of the loop, right? And as everyone said here, when this was shown during MAM, I thought, that's it, case over. Stephen is stuffed. Jack 61, can we have a look at the next slide, please? And a lot of people have commented on this, right? So this is slide 14. As soon as I saw this, I knew that Stephen's goose was cooked. Think about it. How can the co-lead investigator, Tom Fassbender, phone Cherie Culhane, who handled and obtained all the forensic evidence, and she wrote it down, and he said, try to put her in his house or garage, right? And as Alice said, where is the fairness? Where is the fairness? Where is the lack of bias in doing a proper investigation? Tom Fassbender already told Culhane, this is what we expect. Get it done. Get it done. And what happens, guys? We get the key, the magic key, where Cherie Culhane used up all the DNA. That key only contains Stephen's robust genomic DNA, none from Teresa Halbach. What do we get? After the coercion of Brendan Dassey, what do we get? We get item FL that happened to have the robust genomic DNA profile of Teresa Halbach. So in effect, Culhane put Teresa Halbach in Stephen's house and in his garage. Susan.
Well, what's really kind of interesting is that this was written on November 11th, and Sherry
Correct.
was unable to put Teresa in the house or the garage until the planted FL.
Correct. And the key as well, right? So it's remarkable, guys. Can you understand?
Okay. I forgot the key putter in his house.
The key and
That's
the bullet.
right.
But guys, can you please understand? If you're looking at this objectively, and I hope to God the producers of Convicting a Murderer go through every point that we've raised here on Foul Play. If you want a fair, unbiased documentary, you got to mention all of this, right, guys? Jack 61, right, guys?
I know that certain individuals are friends with Fassbender that are from Convicting. That's all I'll say. I just want to know how this can be explained. I mean, really, in an unbiased way, when a lead investigator can tell the lab analyst, try to put her in the house or the garage. Well, why would you do that? That's not how shit works, dude. I mean, maybe it's how it works in this case, but no. And to me personally, we've talked about this at length. There should be double-blind testing and no contact with anyone, period.
100% correct. Now, look, I know I don't want to exaggerate, but put yourself in the shoes of Stephen Avery. Say it was a family member of yours who's been treated like this by the state crime lab and by the co-lead investigator. Put yourself in Stephen's shoes. Where is fair forensic testing? As Jack 61 alluded to, it should have been double-blind testing. No way can the co-lead investigator piss in the ear of the person who's handling the forensic evidence and expect a fair trial outcome. And what did Judge Willis say? Remember what he said? Oh, well, we can't help our already biased investigation. How could it be worse? Even Judge Willis, right, Jack 61, right, guys, he knew that there were shenanigans behind the scenes. If the judge says, how can this be even more of an unbiased, investigation? I don't know what is. Jack 61.
Absolutely, he knew. And he failed. I mean, in my opinion, as a judge. I mean, we've seen some of the judges in the last, few cases that we watched, and they're firm, fair, but they control that courtroom, and that's their
Correct.
job. And in reality, this is a job. This is also Kratz's job. I mean, ultimately, the fairness has to
Correct.
be played on both sides, and it was not.
Correct. 100% correct. So I hope convicting a murderer looks at these so-called irregularities, because I'll tell you what, there's going to be hundreds and thousands of people that will, right? And someone made the comment, did Cherie unlock it? Yes. She actually took that key after she swabbed it and turned over the motor. Okay, the motor didn't start because the battery was disconnected, but it turned the motor over and it unlocked the door. So that key, that pristine looking key that had no blood on it, no DNA belonging to Teresa Horbach, only Stevens, that was the key from the RAV4. Alice.
Yeah, but I mean, you've also got to remember, Doc, I mean, we've all been duped by a documentary. I mean, we've not been clever enough to go searching through other things like documents and things like that, We've all been duped by a documentary. So, I mean, what we do and what we show is all documented, and it's all on the Foul Play website.
Oh, correct, correct.
And I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest, Doc, and I'm going to put it out there, I wouldn't be surprised if convicting has been on our website, looking at our document.
Oh, I'm sure they have. I'm sure they have.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But the thing is, guaranteed they have, Doc. Guaranteed. Because we are one of the biggest collections of these documents that I know of that's out there. You know what I mean? So you're guaranteed that they've went. But I also hope that they actually went and watched some of our lives that we've done and how we've broke it down and the documents and that we are showing. Because if there's supposed to be an unbiased documentary, then they've got to take everything into consideration. Like you said, we hope that they pick up on these points, you know what I mean? And they're going to mention, I mean, I think it was Travis has said in chat, I'm pretty sure all of these points were raised at the trial. And
yes, they were.
Documentary, and Cam will ignore them all, but Cam is on a platform of no consequence. Well,
that's exactly right.
Exactly.
Point.
But the thing is, though, is there's too many people out there now that know about this and know about the documentaries. I mean, Twitter has been full of it, and I'm so happy at the way Twitter has just blown up over this.
It has.
With all the community, you know what I mean? Not just us, but all the community coming in and putting in their bits. But what about this? And have you checked on this? And have you researched this? And everything like that, which I think has been fantastic. So They're going to have to watch what they put out because it's going to get scrutinised like we've scrutinised Ma'am.
Every point will be scrutinized, correct. And I think the hostess, correct me if I'm wrong, Jack61, she said that Stephen Avery was charged for murder back in 1985. Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah, she put out a little clip a
Yes.
few days ago and said that the 1985 case, the murder in it, Stephen Avery, blah blah blah, and it was like immediately when it got posted, it just blew up. So
Yeah.
they're coming out of the gate, creating controversy where none existed.
Yeah, and sorry, Jack, what was the other thing that she said as well? Stephen Avery makes George Floyd look like a saint.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah. So, guys, we know what it's going to be like. It's going to be character assassination 101.
From episode 1 to episode 10, Doc.
Yes, character. They're going to make Stephen Avery look worse than Hannibal Lecter and Ed Gein all rolled into one. But
and all
guys,
law enforcement like angels, Boy
angels and
Scouts.
saints and roses come out of their mouths, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, I just wonder, Doc, if I'm sorry for interrupting. I just wonder if they'll highlight the fact that Coburn in his Second Amendment complaint lied in his lawsuit. He lied.
Yes.
Yes. I'm told by an alleged lawyer that it's okay. It's not really expected to be the truth. Then how can you How can you sue for millions of dollars in a defamation suit over something is not true at all? And I'm talking specifically about his marriage falling apart. That wasn't caused by Ma'am. It's because he had an affair.
That's 100% correct. 100% correct.
I just wonder if they'll include that kind of thing. I bet they won't.
Obviously, probably not. But I just want to emphasize that our library, our website has received a huge number of hits. There are clearly people going to our website and getting the information, which is fantastic. That's what it's there for, guys. We're not hiding nothing. Come in, check, read, do your research, do a podcast on it. We'd love to hear from you. Jack61.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, Stephen Avery case has been down about 3.5 months now, StephenAveryCase.org. And that was a website started by Skip Top. And when we did the crowdsourcing back in 2016, I guess he just didn't want to pay the domain fee anymore. I've tried multiple times to get in contact with him, and that has failed because I would pay for it myself if I had to.
Yeah, hell yeah, we'll pay for it. We would pay for it.
Yeah, I mean, but he hasn't. I can't contact him. Others have tried to, but no luck.
Yes. Susan, did you have a comment?
Oh, I was just going to say, Andy blaming Ma'am for his divorce is like Kratz blaming Ma'am for his drug addiction, sexual addiction.
Correct.
Yeah. It's the same damn thing.
Stephen Avery and the directors of Making a Murderer have become the whipping boys and whipping girls of every problem that is under the sun, right? Which is clearly ridiculous. But guys, none of us have seen Convicting a Murderer. Let's watch it first, then we can react suitably. Right, guys? Let's watch it first. Let's see what they have to say. If it's a balanced production, fantastic. If it's completely biased, then they're going to expect a bucketing from a lot of people, right? And please, Jack61, the directors and producers of Making a Murderer, remember the big list that they show at the end of every episode, that people that declined to be interviewed.
Huge
and guess
list.
what? All those people are now going to appear on Convicting a Murderer. Wow. Jack61.
Yeah, I expected a little controversy, to stir the, get people looking at, Convicting a Murderer, and that's fine. But, to create controversy by telling things that are simply not true, I think it's, I don't know, Doc. I have a really bad feeling about that kind of, let's just call it advertisement because I don't know what else to call it. It's just terrible. And if that's any indication of what's coming, God help us.
Yes.
That's exactly what pundits do. that is their job.
Yeah.
Correct. All right. Well, look, guys, let's continue. I want to do a few more slides. Now, I got a lot of questions. Now we're going back on the canines, right? And this is very, very important because what I did, I was asked the question, well, okay, how many dog handlers were actually at the Avery salvage yard, right? Because remember, you had cadaver dogs and scent dogs. Now, guys, pay close attention to this. This is going to blow your mind. So this is November the 6th, one day before Cuss Road, 2 days before any human bones or cremains were found in Stephen Avery's burn pit. So the question was, how many dog handlers were present on the Avery salvage site? So I went to the login and log out sheet. Have a look at this, right? These are the people that logged in. Now, these are the dog handlers. If you're a dog handler, you normally have a dog with you. Jack 61, would you agree? Guys, would you agree? If you come in as a dog handler, it's likely you've got a dog, either a cadaver dog or a scent dog. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. And, we hear a lot about Luthen and what's the other
Brutus.
one? Brutus. But there was several others that are in Julie Kramer's report that are named off.
Yep. Now have a look at this. I'll name you the people that were there. We have Julie, Robert, Elaine, Grace, Sarah. Can we have the next page, Jack 61? So these are the people that checked in. We've got Leanne. Can we have the next page, please? So we've got 6 people already, 6 dog handlers. We've got Dan, Ellen, Denise, Mary. That's 10 dog handlers so far. Keep going, Jack 61. We've got Michelle, William, Christopher, and down the bottom, Jeff. We've got 14 dog handlers. Huh?
Good Lord.
Wait, keep going, Jack 61. We've got Howard, Rachel, Randall, Phil, and Penny. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 19 dog handlers all logged in on November the 6th. 19. Any comments, guys? And people in chat, any comments?
I had no fucking idea. No idea.
Who had no idea about this? I put my hand up and no idea. I thought there was maybe 3 or 4. There are 19 dog handlers on November the 6th. Jack 61.
I really thought that there were 7 or 8 dogs total. That's what I thought. God almighty, 19 dogs. Oh my God.
I don't know that every single one would have a dog. Do they have some kind of backup or some kind of, I don't know. I can't imagine 19 dogs there.
I can.
The salvage yard and surrounding quarries, we're talking about 500
It's a big
acres,
area.
guys.
Yeah.
They get 500 acres, guys.
Yeah, there were people calling in offering to bring their dog. I'm talking about civilians offering to bring their dogs.
Civilians? Correct.
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, there were.
And is it true, Jack 61, that we don't have all the dog reports?
We do not. Absolutely not. We have
right.
We have several from Great Lakes Search and Rescue. We don't have anything from Midwest Canine.
Right. So at the very least, we've got 19 people, 19 dog handlers on one day. I checked all the other days. There are much less dog handlers on every other day. November the 6th happened to be the golden period where there are a lot of dog handlers and very likely a cadaver and scent dogs on the property or surrounding properties. So Jack 61, I'm making a very important point here. There were at least 19 dog handlers. Jack 61, can we have a look at the next slide, please? Now, this also took place on November the 6th. I want everyone to send this photo to Kratz, Fallon, Garn, the judge, the jury, and to Stephen, because this photograph exculpates Stephen and Brendan Dassey. 100% exculpates Stephen and Brendan of any wrongdoing. I'll tell you why. This photograph was taken on November the 6th, the same day that 19 dog handlers are on the property and checked in. If you notice, this photograph was taken by Trooper Reese. There is no crime scene tape, which means there's no one investigating the burn pit. Can you believe that in front of Bear, the state and Kratz are trying to tell you that the remains of Teresa Hallbach are right in front of Bear? The remains of Teresa Hallbach are in that black ash. And what you notice is the dog looks passive, doesn't look aggressive.
Tail between its legs.
Yep, tail between its legs. Clearly, it's only a photograph, but there were several photographs taken of the burn pit, and Bear is paying no attention to anybody. Remember, the state have just said that a human being, Teresa Hallbach, has just been dismembered and cremated in that burn pit in front of Bear. Now, guys, would you expect at that spot to be a high concentration of scent? Yes or no, Susan?
Absolutely.
Right? You would expect Trooper Reese or anybody near that burn pit to say, what the hell's that foul smell? Did anybody actually report a foul smell on November the 6th? Of all the people that were at that burn pit, that just walked past that burn pit, did anyone report a foul smell? Jack 61.
None whatsoever. And I'd like to point out again that the cadaver dogs were brought there first on the afternoon of the 5th.
On the 5th.
Yep, and not one of them tracked to the pit. Not one. Showed any interest
Correct.
at all.
No cadaver dog went bananas and went straight for the burn pit. It doesn't matter if Bear was there. These dogs are trained to detect human decomposition. The greatest source of human decomposition is right in front of Bear. The state is saying that her remains are in that burn pit, in that thin ash pile. Secondly, Jack 61, anyone on the panel, did anyone report seeing any bones in the grass or in the burn pit? Anyone on November the 6th?
Not on the 6th, absolutely not.
No.
Nope. That didn't happen until after Kiss Road.
And where are the tire wires that are supposed to have bones entangled?
None. And also the seat, do you notice the big seat that they said was used to burn Teresa Hallbach is not even in the burn pit. Alice.
Right.
It's not even in the burn pit.
Yeah, I mean, there is no way. I mean, that would have been a strange smell for Bear. So he would have been doing sniffing at that and everything.
He would have been highly agitated.
Yeah,
highly,
he would have been
highly agitated.
Yeah,
Yep.
he would have been doing sniffing at it and everything like that. He would have been digging at it and everything like that. So no, that's a load of bullshit. And you're right. This proves that fucking Stephen never done nothing to with
This
neighbour.
photograph. Yep.
Yeah.
This photograph exculpates Stephen and Brendan. 100%.
Yeah, Doc. Yeah, definitely. Andy B says, no chain on Bear. Definite that dogs spread the bones everywhere and started digging at Cuss Road, but was interrupted.
Except Jack 61, if you can blow up Bear, not literally, but if you could just expand the picture, he has got a chain on. You can definitely see the chain on Bear. You can actually see it draping between his legs, right? Bear, Jack 61, are you able to blow it up? Yeah, there's definitely a chain on Bear.
Yeah.
Right? He's
Yeah.
definitely being chained, but he doesn't look agitated. He doesn't look pissed off. He's got his tail between his legs. This dog is
It's
timid.
looking directly at the camera and the cameraman.
It's looking at it's looking at Trooper Reese.
If he
All
was
right?
agitated, his tail would be going straight out.
100%.
Yeah.
Here's and Ronica Clack said a very important thing. They had reporters out there. I think it was November the 3rd. They also had Colburn and Remica, and I think Lenk as well on the 4th. One of those days, no one smelled a smell. No one said, "What the hell's that foul smell?" Right? And this is the interesting thing. Sorry, Jack 61.
Just briefly, Doc, talking about people that were there prior to this, Remiker and Link did visit and remember the phone call the next morning between Remiker and Todd Herman, and Remiker's like,
I don't think he has anything to do with it.
Yeah, the guy cooperated. It's Steve and Avery, and he let us walk through the house. Didn't see anything. I don't think they got anything to do with it.
Yep. So look at this, guys. November the 5th, the day of the RAV. No cadaver dog hits on the burn pit. Right? That's the Saturday. On November the 6th, Trooper Reese is taking these pictures. There are 19 dog handlers. 19. You don't think any one of them potentially, or call a vet, could have removed the bear? Just take him out of the picture. Let's do a proper investigation. No. 19 dog handlers. They didn't even call a vet. That's on November the 6th, which is a Sunday. November the 7th, Monday. Nothing. No one reports any bones, right? November the 8th, Tuesday. One day after Cuss Road, all of a sudden, all the forensic evidence falls from the sky like another Pam of God moment. Jack 61. Am I going crazy or what? What the hell is happening here, guys? No one sees anything. No one smells anything. Then on Tuesday, one day after Cuss Road, all of a sudden, they're finding human cremains, bones in the grass, and a pile of bones in the middle of the burn pit, right? And Ertl does not take one picture, in situ picture of any bone. No coroner, no forensic anthropologist, a box of bones. See you later, boys. Nothing to see here. Jack 61.
Yeah, I mean, we have to take the a leap here, but for me, the leap is easy, knowing what we know now, giving Fallon's reply to the motion, given the unfiled search warrant, and the other things surrounding this peripheral stuff that makes it an informed speculation, I guess, or an informed opinion, whatever you want to call it, that whatever they found at Cuss Road, which I personally believe was burned cremains, and they brought them back to the Avery salvage yard and dumped them in that pit. That's what I believe. I can't prove it, but that's why Kratz didn't want anything to do with that shit over there. He wanted to ignore it.
And don't worry, JC1. We'll cover the whole lot. I want to do a few more slides. I don't want to rush this. This is very important. And I love the people in chat, guys. These are all your questions that we're going over. We hide nothing, right? Now, I did a bit of research. Do you realize that a German Shepherd like Bear has 225 million scent receptors? A German Shepherd is the top 2 dogs for smell. Are you trying to tell me that Bear wouldn't have gone crazy on smelling a human being being cremated within feet of the dog?
He would have went nuts.
Tell me.
He would have went nuts, Doc.
Yeah.
Did anyone report Bear going crazy and barking nonstop?
No.
Guys, we must be living in Twilight Zone. That photograph there exonerates, exculpates Brendan and Stephen. This is the ultimate proof that Stephen and Brendan were set up. There is no way on God's green earth that Teresa Horbach's cremains are in that burn pit in front of Bear on November the 6th. Guys, do you agree? And people
Yeah.
in chat, do you agree?
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I have a quick question. I have a quick question, Doc, and it's rhetorical, really more than anything. Me being an asshole, but I want to know, starting from November 3rd, I want to know how Cam is going to explain the fact that there's no odor emanating from this pit, because they were
They'll
there.
ignore it.
They'll ignore it.
They'll ignore it. But don't worry.
Yeah.
We know somebody who was there, right, Jack 61? You
Yep.
wait. We've got a treat for you guys that you're not going to believe. So here's the problem. Ken Kratz obviously saw these pictures from Trooper Reese. And Ken Kratz must have been going, holy shit, we got a problem. So have a look what Kratz actually says. So here's the legitimate question. And the investigators were heavily criticized. They were asked, how come it took you 4 days to find the bones in the burn pit? So Jack 61, the next slide is 21A. I think you've gone a little bit more forward. 21A. Have you got that one, Jack 61?
Hold on, Doc. Let me
Yep,
look. You
it's
guys can
20.
talk.
Yeah,
You guys
it's
talk about
21A.
it.
Yeah. So Kratz was asked, Kratz had to explain how on earth they could have the investigators could have missed the cremains in the burn pit, right? So we'll just wait for Jack 61.
Yeah, just to go back a wee bit, Doc,
Hello.
what you saying
Hello.
about the German Shepherd nose. I was brought up with German Shepherds, so I know their temperament. I know how they are and how they react and how they can be trained. And they are one of the most intelligent dogs
Oh,
that
yes.
you could, and that's why I believe when it comes to Luke's case, that as soon as Luke put
Yes. Yes.
Mia into tracking mode, when he said to her, go seek Jodie, go find Jodie, that was her in worker mode, and she had her nose down and she scented at the wall, and that's why I believe that it was her that reacted to anything first. And I've heard people say,
Yes.
oh, well, why did she not smell it on the way up? Well, she probably did, but he had her on the lead, and she wasn't saying, and she might have smelled something, but he's just pulled her away as if to say, come on, this way. Because Loki does exactly the same. I mean, if Loki pulls me and stops, it's like he's got to pee on every second or
Yes.
third tree, Doc. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's like, come on, you've just peed on there. Or we go a tree and he'll pee on a tree, and then we'll go a tree and then he'll pee on a tree. And it's like, oh my God, you've just peed,
Correct.
So
Correct.
it's in their behavior to do that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So
Correct.
Bear would have reacted if there was any sort of
Oh, yeah.
smell,
Oh,
scent,
yeah.
taking position, burning of tissue, skin tissue, anything.
Yep.
He would have
And-
been gone mental.
Mental. And just to prove it, if you've ever done a barbecue, and I don't mean disrespect, if you got a dog and that dog is even a kilometer away, what do you notice happens to your dog when you cook a barbecue? They come directly to the barbecue and they stand underneath your legs. I know my dogs did, because they want something. They can smell it from a mile away, right, guys?
Yeah,
They can
definitely.
smell it. And put it this way, the smell of a human being burnt, the hair, the skin, the organs, the bacteria, it's going to be a smell a dog has never smelled before. It's going to cause a lot of stress. So Kratz was heavily criticized, and same with the investigators. Now, Susan, in your best Kratz voice, are you able? Can you see slide 21A?
I can, Doc.
Now, this is what Kratz said to defend why the investigators didn't see bones for 4 bloody days. Susan.
even to the untrained officers that stumbled upon this particular burn area, even when they called over the crime lab to process this particular location, it was obvious that there were human remains in this particular burn area. Now, this next picture is particularly important because it was taken before any processing begins. There's the burn area that we're talking about. That's the burn area that contained the obvious human remains. You will see and you will hear from the officers who were at the scene that this burn area from the first night was guarded by Mr. Avery's German Shepherd. I believe his name was Bear. But this particular German Shepherd, and not of the friendly sort, did not allow law enforcement officers to get close to this burn area. Did not allow any of the canine help that was out there to get close to that area. And anytime, excuse me, law enforcement even got close to the burn area, Bear made sure that they were shooed away. Shooed away.
Keep going. Keep going.
I'm waiting on the page. Okay.
Yep.
Mr. Sturdivant also talked about the dog being vicious. This particular picture, I think it's exhibit number 50, is probably all you need to see. It's all you need to know as to why officers were reluctant to kind of check out and investigate this particular area. Oh my God, the excuses are just stupid.
Yep. Phenomenal.
This dog, whose name is Bear, we heard, who's a German Shepherd, we heard being described as vicious, who Deputy Kaharski said the only
Listen carefully. Listen carefully what he says.
the only way they could get by that dog was to destroy or to kill the dog. Certainly was guarding or had access to this entire area. Not only does the testimony prove that, but this particular photo, before any excavation, before any processing, which is obvious has been done, has occurred. What
Now,
the fuck does that mean?
now it's
Jesus.
because Kratz has obviously seen those pictures that Trooper Reese took where no processing was done.
Oh my God.
He is blaming Bear for a multi-million-dollar investigation against Stephen Avery being halted for 4 days, all because of one dog, Bear. And to make matters worse, there were 19 dog handlers on the property on November the 6th, on the very day that Trooper Reese took those pictures, and no one thought to ask either one of the dog handlers or call a vet. So
Exactly.
Kratz now has to come up with a legitimate Pam of God excuse why no cremains were found for 4 days, all because of Bear. Jack 61.
Again,
Oh, ridiculous.
it's another one of those concocted freaking stories that it's awful. It's just terrible, and it's so comical. But the jury and the judge didn't know that there was 20 fucking dog handlers in and around the property, and they could have just as easily called one of the family members to come and get the dog.
That's correct. Why not call Earl? Why not call Bob? Take the dog away, please. Take him off the property, feed him, look after him, take him away. We've got an investigation. It never entered their head, but they called the fucking fire brigade to take apart 54 vehicles, piece by piece. They called the Winnebago dive team to go through all the ponds when the cadaver dogs and said dogs said, there's nothing here. And they called a helicopter. They called hundreds of investigators, hundreds of people. And are you trying to tell me that not one investigator said, let's take Bear off the property because he's a potential threat? Are you trying to tell me that no one thought we better remove the dog?
And the family were calling to get their animals.
That's 100% correct. And they allowed Bobby Dassey to come on the property to take his black Labrador.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I just want to do a few more slides because, again, I don't want to rush this because we've covered a lot. But if you thought Kratz was bad, this is Fallon. Fallon got into the act. Who would like to read this one out? Slide 21D. Who would like to read this one out?
I can read it, Doc. I've been doing Fallon anyway. So.
X61. This is Tom Fallon. Pay close attention what he says. Jack.
And we all know from our common sense that there are many people who are good with animals. Some are very professional. Some do it for a living. Many of us are casual pet owners. Some are not. Well, regardless of that, there are animals out there who have such character and demeanor that it doesn't really matter much for the professional. And the fact that one may be well trained to handle a bloodhound or a human scent detection or human remains detection is of no consequence and of no meaning here doesn't help us at all.
19 of them.
Yeah. Finally, I think it's very important to note that the evidentiary significance, as it were, to this burn pit area wasn't determined at all until Tuesday afternoon. There was no need to remove or do anything with the dog. In fact, we credit Deputy Kaharski for exercising common sense in not shooting the dog when they wanted to search it. They waited.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Bullshit.
Yeah, this is a special prosecutor. This is a special
God.
From the Attorney General's office.
Bear was not killed. He was removed.
Right. They finally did have... Oh, yeah, they removed Bear. They didn't shoot him.
Yeah, they removed him. They called a vet.
Line 22. They finally did have somebody remove the dog when the evidentiary significance of the burn pit became clear.
Oh, God.
Okay,
all right.
Some Q&A here.
As you can see, guys, no one had any suspicions about the burn pit. There was no report of a smell. There was no report of Bear being hyperagitated. There was no report of any bones, and there were people in that area. Now, have a look at this. This is Bobby Dassey being questioned by Mr. Kratz. Susan, would you like to read Mr. Kratz? And I'll read Bobby Dassey. So, question is Ken Kratz. Listen to this classic.
I don't know if you're able to answer this, Bobby, but I'll ask you. What was Bear's personality or demeanor like, if you know? Do you know what I'm asking you?
He was really calm. Let me repeat that, Mr. Kratz. He was really calm.
Oh, God. Yep. The next picture is Exhibit 51. What is that, please?
That is a picture of Stephen's burn barrel. Now, notice Kratz put out the fish on the line. Bobby never bit. Bobby said, no, he was really calm. Yeah. Notice what Kratz did? He immediately changed the subject.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
He immediately, from an aggressive, monstrous dog to, no, he was really calm. What the fuck are you talking about, Mr. Kratz? He completely changed. Now, I want to finish the podcast on this clip. Jack 61.
Want me to pull it up?
Do you have this clip? Yes,
I
please.
I do. Just a
Now,
second.
please, guys, pay close attention. And I'll discuss this clip in detail after Jack 61 has played it. Watch this. Now, what you're about to see is a clip. An O-Dog, a foul play member, team member, has got the actual entire video. This is a walkthrough by two detectives, a male and a female, who went through the Avery salvage yard, and they specifically went through Stephen Avery's trailer garage. And this is them, two of them. Have a look at this clip.
If you're in Discord, you will have to unmute.
Oh.
If you're in Discord, you will have to unmute. I don't know why that's not moving. Hold on. I apologize. I don't know what's going on.
I can hear the wind blowing, Jack.
Yeah, I know. I think I can fix it. Just a second. I think I know what it is. Just give me just 1 second here. All right, here, let's try this again. I'll switch. All right, here we go.
That's awesome.
Jack 61, can you please play that? Can you please play that again? Jack 61,
I can.
Can you please play that? Can you please play that again? Jack 61,
I can.
Can you please play?
Bear doesn't give a damn at all.
Vicious. He's very, very vicious dog. You hear him growling and snarling and everything.
Now,
Wow.
now,
Oh my
That's a
God.
great find.
when I saw that, I fell off my chair twice. If you've ever seen an exculpatory video,
Yeah.
if you've ever seen a clip that completely destroyed Kratz from head to toe, and all the shit that he said about Bear, and all the shit that Tom Fallon said, and all the investigators said, that the entire reason why no bones were found was because of the vicious nature of Bear. You just saw Bear not even give a fuck. Guys, do you agree? He simply walked like a puppy from one place and simply walked back, and there were two law enforcement officers. You saw the shadows with a camera.
Strangers. Yes, strangers standing
And
there.
Bear didn't give a damn. And if you watch the full video, you never hear Bear bark or charge at the officers. And guess where those two idiots were standing right next to? Have a guess.
His doghouse.
Not only that, but what did they videotape? What were they standing in front of? The burn pit.
Yeah. The bird
yeah.
pit.
The burn pit.
Yep.
Jack 61, please play it one more time.
Will
You
do.
got to play. Kathleen Zellner has got to use this as part of the defense. Have a look at this. We'll play it one more time. This is truly remarkable.
Wow.
So
Unreal.
if you play all of the video, nowhere do you hear bear barking. Not once. You hear other dogs barking in the background. It's likely the cadaver and scent dogs. You never hear barking from bear. And not one of those two officers make the remark, what is that horrible smell? They are right at the burn pit on November the 6th, 2 days before they find the cremains. And there's bear as passive as you can get. And Kratz made the remark in court, the reason why no one could get close was that bear, what did he say, Susan? Shooed them away.
And he's vicious.
Can you
Vicious.
imagine?
And
Can you imagine if the jury had saw this?
they would have laughed their heads off. You could have gone up to that dog and rubbed its tummy and give it a pat on the head.
You know, you just handed me some. You know, you just handed me some fodder for Twitter, right? You know that.
Yes.
Vicious,
Yes.
vicious, vicious bear.
Yes. So
Wow.
again, guys, I did it. I did it to show you that there's an alternative narrative to what transpired in the court. And if you notice, I only used their own documents, their own words, their own video. Not one thing was made up by me or anyone on this panel. You saw it with your own eyes. The picture from November the 6th and that video is exculpatory. Not one of those officers ever mentioned smell, bones, nothing. You now know.
Just the fact that Kratz and Fallon both had to emphasize what a mean dog this was. And the reason they didn't get closer is just so telling.
But not only that, guys, we have to thank Kaczarski, Mr. Aliens Man, for not pulling out his revolver and shooting that dog. We have to thank Kaczarski.
That vicious dog.
For that vicious dog.
God, the only way to stop him. Oh.
Now, people on the panel and people in chat, for the love of God, you can see that Bear is not vicious. Bear was not charging. Bear was non-aggressive. Bear was exactly what Bobby Dassey said. He was really calm.
He wasn't even barking at these guys.
Nothing. You watch O-Dog's video that he's got. Never do you hear Bear bark. And those guys are in Stephen Avery's garage right next to Bear. And they actually went out and filmed in front of Bear. And Bear totally ignored them. So can you see that Kratz, the fantasy was in Kratz and Fallon's head, Jack 61.
This just blows me away. You know, I was talking to somebody the other day about what the jury didn't see, what the jury didn't hear. And this is a prime example right here. It absolutely destroys what Kratz and Fallon, two special prosecutors on the case, what they said about Bear and why they didn't go to that burn pit earlier. Bullshit.
Correct. So you know, guys, it's complete, utter bullshit. Alice, do you have a comment?
A couple of comments, Doc. I mean, for one, it made me laugh when Fallon is talking about fucking common sense, because not one of them in this fucking case has used common sense fucking period to investigate this case or anything else. And oh God, what was the second thing? There was something else I was going to say. I forgot it now. Yeah, that was it. I mean, my Loki. I mean, he's not vicious, he's not aggressive or anything like that. But he does not get on with strangers at all, Doc. Whether that's in his own garden with somebody walking past and trying to pet him, or whether that is when we're out. And I mean, when we're out, it could be a protection thing for me as well. But
Correct.
if somebody tries to come near me when I'm out with Loki will have a growl. He will warn them. You know,
Yes.
don't come near me and don't come near my mum. And I have to say to them, you know, look, I'm sorry, but he's no good with strangers. If he knows you, he'll smother you in kisses and get you paws and cuddles and everything. But if you're a stranger, don't try and clap him and don't try and come near me in any type of distance, because he will put himself in front of me and them and he will growl at them. So I would say my Loki is more aggressive than what Bear ever was, you know. I mean, the way Bear was talking about that, my Loki would be on the chain and he would be growling at them because they're strangers, you know.
Correct.
He was like, oh, there's people on my property, so fucking what, you know what I mean? I'm just going to have a wee walk over here, you know. So it's stupid and pathetic, the excuses that they made for how that dog was and how they couldn't get near it until they ate and find these fucking bones and everything like that.
Correct. But you can see the importance of the canines, right? So you could see the way the investigators completely ignored their own canines, the way they ignored the cadaver dogs, the way they ignored the scent dogs, the way Sheriff Pagel prevented Lou from crossing the yellow police tape from getting anywhere close to where Jack 61 with his picture, you can see at Cuss Road, and you can see how far the crime scene tape was. They could have brought Lou 10 feet, 20 feet, and see where Loof was going. They prevented Loof from doing that. And here's an important point. Both Julie Kramer and Sarah Faust told the investigators, remove Bear. None of them did. And on November the 6th, there were 19 dog handlers, right? And eventually they remove Bear one day after Cuss Road. And then all the forensic evidence gets found, right? Which is truly remarkable. So look, guys, hopefully you found this podcast. I don't want to rush the second part. The final part is where we deep dive into what the dogs actually found and we talk about Bushmen. So guys, I hope that you have found the podcast useful, interesting.
Doc,
yeah.
Can I interrupt you for just a minute?
You don't want me to go?
No, don't go. In fact, I was going to say something about Andy B. He seemed to think he saw a tarp there in that video.
No,
near the burn pit.
No, the tarp was put much later when they came and they put crime scene tape, because remember they had to call the crime lab on November the 8th. So on November the 6th, the burn pit didn't even register, right? Didn't even register.
Right.
There was
he just thought he had seen one in that video.
No, there was no suspicion. There was no suspicion of the burn pit at all until I think it was Jost. Is that correct, Jack 61? When he found the bone, he said, "Oh, my dad worked in a butcher shop. That's a very interesting bone," right? So the whole thing is like a Three Stooges comedy. No one had any suspicion about the burn pit. No one. No smell. No burning rubber tires, no ash, no nothing. After one day after Cuss Road, all of a sudden it becomes highly relevant, right? So, you can clearly see. And look, I'm just a private citizen. I do things like everyone here on the Foul Play team. If I found that stuff, right, is convicting a murderer going to show that picture of bear? I don't think so, right? So there's two narratives going on here. There's two narratives. The dogs are telling us one story. The crack investigators are telling us another, right? So I don't recall. What did you think of that dog video? What did you think? And people in chat, tell us what you thought of that little clip.
It was kind of funny, actually, after hearing, them talk about how vicious he was. It's just stupid.
Completely crazy. Yes. Susan, what about yourself? What do you think of that little video clip?
I thought it was awesome. I think it shows the true nature of Bear, just like that photo does. He looks like a very calm dog, like Bobby said.
Correct. 100% correct. And all the photos taken by Trooper Reese, and there's even some with Bear turning his back on the cameraman. Bear paid no attention to him. Just Rhonda, are you there? Just Rhonda may have stepped away. She may have stepped away. Jack61, what did you think of that little clip?
Well, I think it shows the nature of how easily it was for the prosecutors to lie to their officers of the court. They lied to the jury. They lied to the judge. They lied to the public. And I think that at the end of the day, it shows how willing they were to craft this story to convict Avery and then later Dassey. They just did it they just did it because that was their goal. Their goal wasn't the truth. This video is prime evidence of that. Prime.
Correct. And I urge everyone, go to ODog's channel, support him, check out that November the 6th video, because they're the very detectives that made all the crass comments about the shoes. Remember? Oh, we better get shoe impressions because, there are unsolved.
Yeah, that was in Barb's house. Yeah.
In Barb's house. That's 100% correct. 100% correct.
Doc, if you don't mind, there's a couple of comments from N4 SYM. Susan, can you read those? Or Alice, you do it.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to do, Jack. N4 Sim in chat says, I worked with a dog for a long time. I was a guide for explosives and drug detection dogs when I was in the military, and based on my experience, I don't see this dog as nervous or something like that. In fact, the dog that shouldn't even be in that area, if not yet, in the area is purified, and it depends on the indication training mode that the dog has, whether passive or active. It would be indicating the source of the smell or sitting near it if it were a good dog.
Yep. 100% correct. 100% correct. And
although we need to point out that he's not one of the cadaver or scent dogs.
No, he's not. He's not. That's Stephen Avery's personal dog, which is, he normally is an outside dog, chained up, etc. But you can clearly see Bear is very, very passive, non-aggressive, complete opposite to what Ken Kratz portrayed him as. And it's hard to believe that a dog like that, with 225 million scent receptors, wouldn't have gone bananas, right? That's why you called in the scent dogs. That's why you called in the cadaver dogs, because if something was present there, they'll hit upon it. And that's the case. Look what Loof did. Loof just completely ignored that whole area and went to the cornfield. Alice.
Yeah, N4 sign says, and if the photo or video is proof that the dog is indicating something, that is nothing like a dog indicating that it has found the source of the scent. So,
correct.
And I mean, that's from an actual dog handler themselves. That's making these comments. So if anybody should know, like you say, you've got to put the dog into motion to search, seek, find, whatever. And then the dog knows that it's time to work, you know what I mean? And then they do their work, and then they get their treat at the end of it. You
Yes.
know,
But
it's amazing what dogs are getting used for, and this is what makes me so angry when it comes to the Luke case, when they say, "Oh,
yeah,
she couldn't have done that, she couldn't have found that," and everything. As soon as he put her into working mode, that's when she knew she was in working mode. You know, when he said seek or find Jodie,
correct,
you know.
correct,
So
correct, correct. But you have to admit, unless Stephen Avery is burning human bodies every day, the smell of a burning human being for Bear is unusual, correct? The dog would have picked up scent saying, "This is not right. This is not a barbecue. This is different," and
he
would
would
have
have
been
been
highly agitated.
Yeah, he
Highly
would have been
agitated.
gone mental. He would have been gone mental, Doc. He would have been digging. He would have been pawing. You know what I mean? He would have been sniffing like 90. So when they
Yep.
came round with that camera and panned round to that burnt, but Bear would have been all over that, up and down on the hill, because there was supposed to have been stuff found in the grass and everything like that as well.
Correct.
So he would have been all over there, and he probably would have barked or something like that to say, "Wait a minute, this is fishy." You know what I mean? This
Correct.
smell shouldn't be here.
Correct. So again, guys, we'll finish it here. The dogs are telling you one story. The investigators and Kratz are telling another story.
Bear
and don't
included.
You find, and Bear included, and Bear's not a trained dog, but Bear's
Yep.
got very sensitive nose. And Bear's even telling you, "There's nothing here.
Bear
There's
just became
nothing here."
Bear just became a rock star in my world.
Yep.
And I'm a calm dog. I'm not vicious.
Correct. But you see, guys, that's where you have to show the shenanigans that the state pulled that are not supported by evidence. And the way to hurt the state is to use their own words, to use their own videos, to use their own testimonies. No one on this panel or in chat believes Pam of God, that she got divine intervention and found the Rav quicker than any dog or any cadaver dog or scent dog did. Impossible, right? So they built up this story, and now the investigators are trying to blame Mam for their misgivings, for evidence that was hidden. Nah, the dog showed where the evidence was. The investigators ignored it, and the question must be asked, why did they do it? All right, well, look, guys, that's enough of me blabbering. I hope you found this very entertaining. Next week is going to be a real cracker, because hopefully we'll finish the podcast unless I get a whole heap of other questions coming through. But there's no rush. This chapter has been an eye-opening chapter. It's been able to bring everything together in a very nice, neat package. And hopefully we can finish next week. That's where we're going to look at the dog tracks. We're going to look at all the dog tracks. And then we're going to meet Mike Bushman, right? The guy that found the clandestine burial site at Cuss Road and proved to you what was found at Cuss Road were bones. And it came out of their mouths, not us, their own mouths. Well, look, guys, I really hope that you found, yes, Andy B, we must go. I hope you found this very interesting and entertaining. I certainly have learnt a lot. But look, guys, what I like to do is to go around the panel, tell us what you've been up to and how things are coming along. First, we have Jack 61. Jack 61, how about yourself?
I'm doing okay. It's been an interesting week, and last week we did a couple. Well, we went through some depositions, and we're going to step back into the dispatch calls. I think we're up to November 7th, maybe November 8th. So we're going to dive back into those, try to get through. I don't know how many we'll get through. Depends on how long they are and how much conversation it spurs. But that's what's on the schedule for open mic tomorrow. I will say that I've been kicking this around, and I don't know the best way to do it. I would like to, though, do a rebuttal to the two King Kratz videos that were just produced and posted on I don't know how many people saw those, but he did 2 videos for this Wisconsin Law Review or something, we think, and then also this video that Candace Owens did where she said that Stephen was a murderer in the 1985 case. I'd like to rebut that, and so maybe I might do something, maybe not a very long open mic, but something to talk about, give everybody's opinion, and on Monday. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how things go. So that's what's on plan. 5 o'clock Central tomorrow. Open mic.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jack61. Very much appreciated. And next we have Alice. How about yourself? What are you up to? And how did you find this podcast that we just did?
Yeah, I always find the podcast that we do, Doc, fascinating. The things that we find, the things that we come up with, the things that people in the community come up with, and pass it along. They'll drop it in Discord and they'll be like, "Hey, Doc or Jack or whatever, I've found this and this call, and they timestamp it and everything like that, And I think that is fantastic that we've got a group of people that are all aiming for the same thing, and that is to try and get these boys free no matter what. And I think that is bloody fantastic.
Fair trial, at least a fair trial.
A fair trial. Yes, Doc, at least a fair trial, if not release, definitely. As for myself, I'm just waiting for the protest for Luke, which is the 13th of May at the Scottish Parliament, the Edinburgh Parliament.
Yes.
12:30, people will be meeting up from about 12:30. So if you're in the vicinity or the surrounding areas, please come along, show your support for Luke. It would be very much appreciated. There is the Facebook group, the Jodie Jones and Luke Mitchell Who Got Justice as the official Facebook group. You can get all the information about the protest and things like that there. So, and I would just like to say thank you to my panel as well. I love being on with this panel, and I think it's fantastic with what we come up with. So thanks, Doc.
No, not at all. Thank you very much, Alison. I really do appreciate your passion and enthusiasm. It's very infectious, that's for sure. I don't recall. What about yourself? How are you coming along, and what did you think of this podcast?
It was very interesting. I like how you you'll look at police reports and then drawing the transcripts and stuff. It's really a good way to investigate these things, and I'm learning a lot. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I don't recall. Much appreciated. And next we have Susan, and thank you for your Mr. Kratz reading.
You bet. You bet, Sugar.
Thank you.
And thank you, Doc, for all the work that you've put into this. It's very interesting. I think the entire audience and Everly, the entire audience is enjoying this, and I think you've just done a great job. So thank you again for all the hard work.
Thank you very much, Susan. Very much appreciated. Thank you. And I think, is just Rhonda there, or she may have stepped away? Just Rhonda? No, she may have stepped away. All right. Look, guys, well, this has been, like I said, I don't want to rush it. There's just too much valuable information. Write down your comments. If you like what we do, please subscribe, like, and share. And keep an eye on Jeff Jones' channel. Both myself and Jack61, Big Jeff, and Kelly, we're doing reviews of MAM 2 at the moment, and I'll tell you what, very, very interesting conversations. Well, look, guys, again, unless there are any final comments, I'd like to thank everyone in the panel for your wisdom and knowledge, and I'd like to thank everyone in chat. Please leave your questions in down below in the comment section. I promise I will read them, and if there's any really good questions, we'll tackle them next week. Again, thank you so much, guys. Take care, and we'll catch you tomorrow.
And this has been a Foul Play production.